All right, so I think the stream thinking about things ready to go though. So hello everybody, Make ZardX here, back at it again to give you another exciting podcast episode. That being my episode 79. Now, oh my goodness, Steven, the floodgates have officially opened, man. I mean, we got so much good news in terms of Nintendo side from the fiscal reports, the final confirmation of the Nintendo Switch 2 after having so many rumors left and right, though. We finally managed to have that in our hands. But we gotta have a little bit of yin and yang in our life. Like, you can't have it all good. So on the flip side of the coin, oh my gosh, Xbox has been getting slandered I say the past week or maybe 2 weeks or so. But oh my goodness, we got to talk about that whole debacle and stuff. And I'm like, man, I feel bad for them, but at the same time, not really. But I feel bad for the developers, at least, the gaming studios that unfortunately got closed and stuff like that, though. But that's just a little bit of a synopsis for some of the topics we have to go through and discuss through tonight. But Steven, how's it going, man?
It's going good. Just been chilling.
Just been chilling. All right, I see you, man. Now, normally we would jump straight up into the pop culture segment stuff, but it's a packed show. And I ain't really got that many pop culture segment stuff to talk about though. Steven, we might as well go ahead and get up in it though. Let's go ahead and get the show on the road. All right, so we first got to talk about this whole entire scenario and fiasco with Helldivers 2. Now, interestingly enough, whenever we talked about Helldivers 2 last episode, which was a couple of weeks ago, we reported on the fact that how this rubbed PC players off the wrong way, right? Like they didn't like signing into PlayStation Network and stuff. And I think it wasn't 24 hours later from that episode airing they managed to backpedal up on that mess and say, yeah, we're not going to require you to log into PlayStation Network to play Helldivers 2. What do you think about that whole entire situation, Steven?
It was stupid and unnecessary on Sony's behalf. All it did was generate bad will for the game. And it doesn't deserve it. The game's great. I feel like obviously people still care about the game and it's still got a big audience, but a lot of people just stopped because of that game. It went from overwhelmingly positive to mixed.
Yeah, because those reviews scores, like that thing got review bomb to whew, Man, that
Yeah,
thing
for
got review bombed to there and back, and I was looking at that mess, I was like, as kinda what you said earlier, it was like, yeah, they kinda causes ill will over nothing, to be honest, and it would've been one thing if they would've said and been upfront with it, say, "Hey, in the future, because of the way how we got this infrastructure set right now, we're not gonna require y'all to log in the PlayStation Network, but later
oh
on,
yeah.
we are." If something would have been there, then I doubt as many people would have been as bad, salty, or reacting this kind of way. But because they did it, it's just And then the fact that this whole entire fiasco, because the goodwill has been broken, it's kind of flowing on over into the PC release for Ghost of Tsushima, because then it's like, well, if they already burned us bad with Helldivers 2, then what in the world y'all gonna do with y'all's PC port for Ghost of Tsushima, which that game is freaking phenomenal. If you hadn't played that game, I highly suggest you to do so, whether you got a PS4, PS5, or if you're playing the game on PC. Highly recommend it. It's like one of the PlayStation games outside of like all of the Marvel Insomniac game stuff. Sucker Punch, good studio right there. I really love that game though, so definitely check that out. But that kinda made some people be like, "Well, shoot," and I think it's a little weird with that game in particular because of the fact how whenever you wanna play the single player campaign, they say you don't need a PlayStation Network, but then you turn around on the flip side of things, and if you wanted to go in and, play the multiplayer, then it requires you to do it. So it's not gonna be as bad of a burn off with Helldivers 2, but I mean, that ill will is still kinda in the back of everybody's mind, though. But, I feel like that's basically the meat and potatoes for this one, though. Steven, you got anything else to elaborate on?
Yeah, I'm not gonna elaborate on most of the stuff we already said, but it is just a horrible thing what they did. They restricted this game's purchase from basically all of Africa is banned from playing Helldivers 2. So all
That's
of
that's
Africa,
saying something. The whole
all
freaking continent is
literally
like, nope.
yeah, all of Africa, Greenland, which is not that populated, but still, come on. Like it's a big piece of land. I'm looking at a map right now of
Wait, you
places
said
where the game
Greenland?
is. Yeah, Greenland.
Greenland is mostly all ice. What the heck?
Yeah, but like it's still people there. It's still a
Mm.
country. No, but like yeah, literally almost was it like 150 countries or 150 regions where it was banned. And there's just a lot of them, and that hurts Sony where they actually care money. And obviously the big countries weren't affected by this, the US and this and that. But still, a lot of people were pissed off that they could just no longer play the game. A lot of Asian countries as well, like some countries in Europe. It really just depended on the country. But like the real thing is that Helldivers 2 didn't even need this. Steam has accounts. You shouldn't have to make 5 different accounts to play your games. So annoying when they force you to do that.
Yeah, and it is annoying, but it's crazy because like what nowadays, like if I look at Discord, because like Discord, I have like most of my stuff linked to it though. But you have like a Ubisoft account. Sometimes people got, or at least on the Steam side of things, Epic. Then you have your own Steam account and stuff like that. Apparently now it is a thing you can sync your PlayStation account with your Steam account and stuff like that. And I feel like I'm missing something else though. But there's already like 5 or 6, 7, 8 different things you can already have with different accounts when you're just in the PC side of things though. It's kind of crazy though. And it's like, dang, do we really need all of this stuff though? And it really chats my hive whenever you have to log into like Ubisoft accounts or stuff like that. Or Capcom IDs and stuff. Like I remember doing that stuff with like Street Fighter 6. And it's like, bruh, like I'm already on the PlayStation network at that time, Switch, whatever though. You already have all my information. The fact we have to have so many different counts, man, it's like, ugh. But
Yeah, and
yeah, I'll go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think people just had enough of it. I think people are just sick and tired of Sony doing random bullshit to the games they like. And I think that's the reason why it was such a big stinker. No one's really talking about the Ghost of Tsushima thing. It's because Helldivers is such a universally liked game for the most part.
Yeah, Sony wasn't expecting that game to at least blow up as big as it did. And I think actually, if you were to go through and look at the sales numbers and stuff, it's the fastest growing PlayStation game, period. I guess between the combination of it, mostly with PC, and then obviously the players that are on the PlayStation consoles themselves, though. But yeah, they weren't expecting to go up that big though. But I'm like, dang, Sony. I was like, I know y'all got to make a push to get into the PC audience because how else y'all gonna pay for these costs of these ballooning budgets that y'all are setting up for a lot of y'all's AAA games, though. So I mean, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, just that mindset going forward. Y'all can't afford to fumble the ball at least that many times, though. But at least with Helldivers 2, it's not as big, nearly as big of a fumble as what we're about to get into with this next topic, though. Because Steven, I know I was feeling for you on this one, though, but oh shoot, I had to put that on the TV screen right there. Picture of Sarah Bond. Yes, we're talking about Xbox has shut down 4 of its different studios, and one of those studios happened to be the studio that was responsible for making High Five Rush. I can see the steam rolling out of your ears right now, Steven. So go ahead and have at it.
Fuck you at Microsoft. Fuck you. I don't necessarily care about the games that some of these other studios made. Like, was it Redfall was like from what I heard horrible. But like at the same time it was extremely rushed. Like I guarantee they wanted to make a decent product, but they could not get it in time. They just recently added an offline mode to that game because it was only online for some stupid reason, even though it has like single player stuff. It felt like, that so it was 4 different studios. I'm just going to talk about the one that I actually know a decent amount. Tango Gameworks made the Evil Within games, and it made Hi-Fi Rush. I think they also made Ghostwire Tokyo, from what I remember.
Yeah.
It was something like that. And Hi-Fi Rush is fantastic. It is definitely in my top 5 for 2023. Like no doubt about that. Probably even maybe number 1. It's like between that and Pizza Tower and like Pikmin 4. There's a lot of good games in 2023, but my God, Hi-Fi Rush immediately in January took that spot. It's just such a good, polished, fun game. And them canceling a planned sequel apparently and doing this when the game was successful, like this game set a precedent for like what, these smaller, they more small games from from big studios, which I'm pretty sure even a couple days after they did this bullshit, they even said, "Oh, we need smaller games, more from more talented studios. We need these small games
And Steven,
instead
I
of
got a
these
but
big projects."
I gotta
Yeah.
butt in real quick because we caught Xbox lying over here. Like, man, I
Yeah.
don't like this because they literally said whenever that game. Remember, this came out in 2023, and it was shadow dropped during one of their presentations, and it's
Yeah.
from a gaming studio where Xbox has clearly said they wanted to push their ecosystems into the Japanese market. Right, this is one of your studios that's over there in Japan where you can actually get Japan developers and stuff, and maybe they can get a little bit of a taste of what Japan likes. Like that would have been your way in, and then you turn around and shut down this mess though. But literally, they whenever that game came out and we started getting the initial sales for it, they said Microsoft was pleased at the success of that game, and they had plans to reinvest into Tango Games work though. And then for them to say, "Hey, it was successful," and turn around not even a whole year later and say, "Nope, we're gonna have to shut it down." That just leaves a kinda taste up in my mouth.
Apparently it's like mostly Bethesda, but like fucking come on. No matter whose fault it is, this is the most tone deaf like bullshit thing a company has ever done, in my opinion. Take something just universally loved and just, get rid of it for what reason? What, like I don't even think it's a money thing. I don't know. Like
Well,
apparently the game did do well. They just released it on other consoles, and it seems like the studio itself didn't even know this was happening.
I have a strange
But
feeling. If you have to, you can't just look at it just with your laser eye vision on just this one little bubble we're looking at right here. Because when you look at Xbox is just one piece of the pie. If you want to broaden the scope out a little bit more, it's the whole entire company of Microsoft. Yes, the people behind Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, all that. You have to look at Microsoft as a whole. And you have to think back to that whole acquisition that Xbox has managed to do whenever they managed to acquire Activision Blizzard, because I have a feeling because of the fact that Microsoft said, "Hey, Phil Spencer, here's a whole bunch of money. Go ahead and take it and buy this." But by golly, when the whole year comes around, we better see some of that money. We better get some profit off of that stuff. Make back some of that money that we put up into this thing now. And we know the whole entire fiasco thing with Xbox Game Pass and stuff. We even got some updated numbers from them, and it's like I guess apparently the growth of the Xbox Game Pass subscription-based service has only grown 1%. It I would just say even across the whole entire board with subscription-based stuff, whether it be, like the game service with Xbox Game Pass or even, on the I guess in terms of like the other medias, in terms like Disney Plus or Paramount Plus or Netflix and stuff like that, subscription based services overall as a whole aren't really growing. You said it last week, Steven. Like, people are getting sick and tired, or even you yourself said you're getting sick and tired of this stuff though. So whenever you have stuff like that where you're trying to push the whole entire Xbox Game Pass motto and stuff, and you're trying to use that as a heavy means of being able to turn around a profit and like a monthly subscription, might I add, and it's not turning dividends for you, Microsoft's over here as the big head honcho boss is looking down. It's like, all right, you know what, Spencer, you had your time. We're just going to have to start cutting some stuff because we don't like to. We like getting a lot of money. We have a lot of money, but we don't have a lot of that money by just wasting money here and there, or else we want to be a company right here and now. So
yeah.
I feel like that's probably part of the reason why they cut this, because you can't turn around and say a game's successful and in the eyes of like a few people, and then somebody up in upper management was like, "Hey, we got to cut these people because the math ain't adding up." And I think this is just to make an example out of things. That's what I'm getting, at least from all of this.
I was just gonna say, I think, in my opinion, hot take alert, I think gaming has just gotten way too big for its own good. Especially after COVID, there was so much money poured into the gaming industry and so many new people hired and all this that it was only inevitable that things would start falling down when the world returned to normal. When people started spending less money on games in general. Not to get political, but the economy's in a bit of a fucking collapse right now.
Shoot, don't
Or
even
has
get me
been.
started on the Japanese yen, man. That stuff is at some record lows over there in
I'm
Japan.
just I'm just gonna talk about what I know, and that's the US. Prices won't stop going up. It's horrible. Like, prices won't stop going up and jobs won't stop getting harder to find. And, it's just worse. Like the wages aren't going up in proportion with the amount of prices going up. Games are getting more expensive. Less people want to buy $70 games. Every single game that is coming out that people are actually talking about are indie games. Like that Endgame Animal Will that just released. People talked a lot more about that than any like first party release from like Sony or Microsoft I've seen in a while. I think people want smaller games with actual life in them and not the soulless shit that Microsoft and Sony have been spewing out. Like Spider-Man probably was cool. I didn't get to Spider-Man 2 yet, but like
Dang, man, you need to get to that.
yeah, but I'm not nearly as excited for the fucking 5 other games they already have planned because it just feels like a product at this point. Like not even it feels like it's just being churned out. Like what, they have a Venom game and then an X-Men game and then this and that game. And I'm like, "Oh my
Hey,
God."
I wouldn't be spewing too much on them though, because if it weren't for Insomniac Games, PlayStation would be in a in a deeper rut
It,
than what they are in
it's
right
no,
now.
no,
I'm just
yeah.
business side of
Not
things. If I was
it's
just
not
saying
that the
that,
games are in quality. I just think that it's extremely annoying that Xbox puts money into didn't they put money into some kind of like diversity campaign recently or something like that? They put like $100 million into some like diversity thing,
they
but
may
like
have, but I might not caught that.
it was something like that. They put a lot of money into some stupid like shit that like yeah, it obviously matters, but like yeah, they do that, but then they close like some of their studios making games that were actually doing good for them and were pushing boundaries. So I don't get it. Do they want to have good games or not?
I don't
Because
know, man.
they're like Nintendo's gonna rise out of the ashes and succeed unless they do something really stupid. All they have to do is just keep doing what they've been doing before.
Hey, I'm telling you, man, it was funny because between all of this different news, between the good stuff with play, oh, talking out of too many sides of my mouth. Good stuff that happened with Nintendo and the bad stuff recently that happened with PlayStation and especially with Xbox. Egg on their face with that one though. It felt like that one meme where it's like you playing Mario Party and Luigi wins by doing absolutely nothing. It was one of them
Yeah.
kind of weeks. What was it? A couple of weeks ago and whatnot, though. But no, even looking at Xbox and stuff, like felt like since they broke that news for a good stretch of period of time, they were trying to advertise another game that's literally right around the corner. What is that? Hell, oh no, not that. I was about to say Helldivers 2, not that. Goodness, I'm getting ahead of myself. Hold on, let me look back at my notes. I was about to. Oh, Hellblade 2. That's what I'm trying to say. Man, okay. Yeah, so Hellblade 2, that game is about to come out. I think it's literally this week, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
think so.
And there was like one tweet that they managed to say on Twitter, and it was just like Hellblade 2 coming out on this day, PNG, and they called it it. And I was like, now, what the freaks Xbox? I was like, y'all had all of this bad publicity and stuff that happened a few days prior to it. And you can easily kind of, ease your audience and stuff and be like, hey, it might seem bad, but we got something good to make up for. Honestly, it really ain't ever gonna fully make up though, but just try to ease the blowout, if you will, from a business point perspective. And then they turn around and just advertise the game with just a standard PNG, and I think all the way up until this point, I don't feel like we've gotten like a substantial amount of gameplay for this game. Period. I remember seeing it at the what was it, the Game Awards and stuff, but it was like all cutscene ish and not really gameplay. I know they're saying this is
Yeah.
like a smaller type of game and it's a digital game only, so most people are only going to pick it up via Game Pass. But I don't know, like.
If you ask me, that's more reason to market it. More accessible to more people. Like digital only makes it so a lot more people can access it. And also, if it's a smaller game, is it still full price or I don't know? Is it?
Oh, I don't know what the price is, but I imagine most people, if you're gonna get it, you might as well just get it on Game Pass. 'Cause I feel like in
Yeah,
terms of the runtime for the game, it might not even be more than 10 hours at most. And that's if you're
especially
trying
with
to do a lot of stuff up in it.
$70 games, people are just waiting for sales. No one's buying games at launch anymore unless you really want them.
I mean, there was even a few games I wanted to get kind of closer to launch. This year, like, I think what was it? There was quite a bit of games that dropped around January, February. Like, one of them was like, what was it? Uh, I wanted to say Yakuza, but Infinite Wealth. Like, I wanted to get that game. That was $70. I was like, you know what? If I wait on that, it'll be cheaper on the end of the year, though. Um,
Exactly.
what was that Ubisoft one that came out in January? I think you played it, Steven. Oh gosh, what was it? The Prince of Persia game.
I
I don't know
played
if
the demo.
I think that was $60. It might not have been 70
That's
though,
my
but I know
problem.
I can wait for that to be 20 bucks because it's Ubisoft. So I'm like,
Yeah.
unless it's like a diehard Nintendo game or something like that, or a PlayStation game like a Venom, like I know I'll get that on day one. There's not a lot of PlayStation games I'll go through and probably will get them on day one when I know I can just kind of pick them up as a haul at the tail end of the year.
Yeah, like, it's been said, but like at this point in the gaming industry, why would people buy your next gen, you know, 4K 100 to 120 FPS graphics slop when you could easily buy an indie game that is a lot more visually interesting, probably a lot more fun, and has a lot more replayability for like $20. Like indie games also don't have to deal with those layoff problems and restructuring and this and that. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're never gonna see like I don't know, you're never gonna see like the team behind Pizza Tower announcing like a layoff of their staff of like probably only like like less than 100 people.
And it's kind of funny that you mentioned that with layoffs, and that doesn't really happen with indie studios because if you look at another studio, Toys for Bob, you know, the people that are behind making the Crash and the
Yeah.
Spyro games, man, I imagine they would have been one of those companies that would have gotten cut if they hadn't gotten the grace from Xbox say, hey, let's just go independent, do our own thing. We'll contract and make some games for y'all though, but
Well,
let us
yeah.
try to do our own thing. Man, they dodged the bullet because they could have been the next one on that chopping block. I'm just saying.
From what I remember, they were kind of sent to work on Call of Duty for a bit at least, and then
Yeah, they did.
They had that Crash Team Rumble game, which already died, mind you, already gone. Because that's another thing. I didn't even mention it, but it's not even just a realistic slop. It's live service that's ruining the gaming industry. Live service is increasing budgets tenfold.
Yeah, that is true because I know at least for Sony, in which now we know they're having some like restructuring in terms of like their higher ups and stuff. Like we know their previous CEO basically is retiring and stuff, and they're actually bringing on like two different people now though. But obviously underneath the Jim Ryan era, they were like heavily pushing the live services games and stuff. And even then they wanted to ship a whole bunch out by like a day X, and they're like, wait, we need more time for this, especially
Yeah,
after they brought Bungie on board and they were able to kind of look at some of these things that they had kind of going for them now. And they were like,
yeah.
yeah, we got to scale this back a little bit more.
It's
And, you know, not every game can be like a Fortnite or something like that or a Final Fantasy
yeah.
14. It just doesn't happen like that.
Fortnite gets away with it because it is constantly changing. People can jump into Fortnite multiple years apart from each other and still get a similar experience. You know, like you could see people that have these old skins and like be like, "Oh, I wish I was playing to get that," or this and that. Like it has that factor of, I played for a while, I got, exclusive stuff that no one else can get. Like it feels satisfying to level up in that game and get new rewards and the game itself is fun. Fortnite is cartoony and trying to just be a fun game, and it also gets all those big collabs that get people back in. Like, Fortnite always gets back in the news for whatever new collab they did, like Peter Griffin or Avatar. They always get back into the news somehow. And in my opinion, it's the only game that's done live service right because it has enough star power to actually fund it. Of course, Epic Games also had some layoffs, but like either way, they're still able to deliver this game like quite well. Unless Fortnite like declines massively in the next year or so, I'm gonna keep saying it's the best live service game. But every other one I've played just doesn't do it. The fact that games should not be a job. There are so many people in the working class that go to work, like 5 days a week, and come home and then they have to play a game that's basically just fucking work again. No,
Oh no,
I
heck
should.
no.
I,
We
sh- I
can't no,
shouldn't.
uh-uh.
Yeah, I shouldn't have to clock back into work the moment I get home and finally sit in my chair just because I want some exclusive item or want this or want that. Fortnite, I'd say is the only exception to this because if you can buy it, but like there's a lot of live service games that either force you to level up or it's extremely expensive, or the worst alternative is having one of these live service games that you pay for and then still has it, like Suicide Squad, where that's a $70 game and it still had live service microtransaction item shop fucking bullshit. Well, Fortnite's
I call
free.
that like a quadruple A or something like that, where you
Yes.
pay the $70 and then you still count it as a live service game, and just
Yeah.
chop it up to some DLC and make it a day.
Yeah, well, Helldivers, like I guess it technically counts as live service, but that game does it right because it's $40 first of all, and it comes with enough content already packed into it to support that, I'd say.
Yeah.
And they Helldivers does some cool stuff. Like there was this one mission where you know they added like a mech to the game that you could ride in, and you had to take over the planet, or you had to defend the planet that was supplying the mechs. And then once you fully defended the planet, they were released into the game. Like small like little events to do that kind of coincide with the game's content.
Yeah.
It's fun. And, maybe I just have a bias, but I just think single player games have a place in the industry still. There are so many games that should just be either single player experiences or small little multiplayer experiences that you can go back to. Like, this one's coming soon, and I'm still not really excited for this. Multiverses is coming back in like a week, and they are not
Oh
doing
shoot, it's already
anything.
that. Wait, well, hold on, it's already here in a week,
Yeah, it's coming
bro.
in
We
a
were
week.
supposed to saddle up, and I was supposed to
Yeah,
pull out my boy. What was it, Gandalf or whatever? Man, what
he's
the
not
heck?
out yet, probably.
Dang,
I don't know,
no,
but
he
like
needs to be out.
they're adding Joker. We're just gonna add this as a section because I guess you didn't see it. They're adding Joker. They're adding Banana Guard from Adventure Time, and apparently they might be adding Jason Voorhees. That's leaked though.
Hmm.
I don't know, but that game, it's I don't know, it's just not looking like it's gonna be fun. It looks like it's gonna die after another 3 months. I shouldn't have to be worried that my favorite game is gonna stop being supported because they decided that it should be some live service fuck shit. I don't
Yeah.
know. It
Ho-
it
hopefully,
angers
it's.
it it
Mm,
it angers me, Zard. It angers me what the gaming industry has become. Helldivers, they at least have the money to support their game because you already gave them $40. They got the $40 from you. That gives them enough money to keep sustaining as a company.
yeah, and
Like,
I like how you said this angers you, kind of, jumping back on ship with the Xbox though, because it kind of ties into what you were mentioning a little bit though. But I guess because of the fact that how we already know that their Game Pass subscription service ain't really growing that much, there's already talks and dabbles. Is like, well, what are you gonna do with this next Call of Duty game? I probably lost them for a quick second. Hold on, y'all. But I'm awfully sure. I feel like that game was like, or not that game, that service. It's roughly about $15 a month. I feel like it because obviously you have like the Game Pass for the console as well as on the PC side of things, though, and those are usually about like $10 this or so. But yeah, so honestly, at least for those two, it's kind of cheap. But the Game Pass Ultimate thing is just way too expensive. Steven, you back yet?
can you hear me? Hello?
Okay, yeah, now I can hear you. I thought it was on my
Yeah,
end, but I think it was on your end, but I just kept talking though.
maybe.
Mm.
No, but yeah, I don't know. Like, it's probably gonna come to Game Pass, but can they? I don't know. Are people gonna even stay subscribed? I don't know. Game Pass was a lot more appealing back in the day. I don't know. Is that just me? Game Pass, especially
I feel like it is. Mhm.
like people download Game Pass, play a game for, they might download it for one specific game, play that game because they don't, they just want to, they don't want to actually buy it. They just want to rent it basically. And then they move on and then they probably don't subscribe again, or they get some kind of deal to get like a month for a really cheap price like you did and then never go back.
Dude, I
because
can't I
like
can't tell you how many times I've used that system, Steven. I'll either buy something for my PC or get something else at Best Buy, and it'll be like, "Here you go, 3 months here, 3 months there, or a couple months here, or a month here," and that's the only time I take advantage of Game Pass Ultimate. The second that it's done, I'm going ahead and canceling the thing because they ain't getting my money
yeah. That's my issue is that yeah, like these companies they just expect you to stay subscribed for what? Like what am I staying
forever.
subscribed for after, you release the one game that I care about the entire year?
Yeah.
Like it's the same thing with PS Plus. Like yeah, they do their monthly games, but I have no guarantee it's going to be something I actually enjoy. I don't even like when Nintendo does it. Nintendo Switch Online, in my opinion, is still not really that great of a service. Like,
Now
yeah, the
hold on, hold
GBA
on, hold on,
and
hold on here. You
I'm just
got
saying, I'm
freaking
just
Golden Sun up on that mess, man. You can't play that
listen,
mess anywhere else.
yeah, you have a lot of good games on it finally, but the online still isn't good. Like,
I don't know. Ever since I switched to Ethernet, I hardly had any issues. I don't know
I'm
if
not
that was
saying,
ever just me. I don't know, but I can't speak for everybody out there. Yes,
yeah,
I know there's some things they could do better, obviously, but yeah,
Splatoon 3 and Smash still don't like to work for me all the time. You cannot play those games online consistently. No, but no, back on track though. Like subscription services for gaming just are stupid.
yeah.
Remember when PlayStation used I think they might still do it. PlayStation Now, where it was like
Oh no,
cloud
no, no.
streamed
Well,
PlayStation
you
game.
they do cloud streaming for PlayStation, and it's a whole nother rabbit hole. They do it for their PS3 games, like for example, Ratchet and Clank
Yeah.
that was on the PS3. If you want to play that game on PlayStation Plus, you have to stream it from their servers to your
Oh
console.
my
And
fucking god.
I have a really good high internet speed, and that stuff still with the latency, it still wasn't good enough. I was like, "Oh shoot, y'all." But they don't do that for every one of their games. It's just mainly for PS3. It's like the main ones. Obviously, you can do that for other games as well if you just didn't want to install the game on your system again or whatever. Or, obviously you can kind of take pretty good advantage of it with your PlayStation or what is it? What do they like to call that sucker nowadays though? The portal. Like it obviously makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense for that. But I mean outside of that, no, I mean not really.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I think consumers nowadays just don't want to deal with the trouble. They don't want to deal with like having, they just want something more simple. They want to open their game system, you know, maybe pop in a game and play it. They don't want to subscribe to 15 services, log into 15 accounts and then play their game. Like imagine if when you opened up Splatoon, it asked you to make like a Splatoon account to continue.
No, that would have been dumb.
Which yeah, would have been dumb. I don't know.
Mm.
I honestly, I like PlayStation and Microsoft. I like some of their games. It's not that I don't. It's not that I'm a fucking Nintendo fanboy. Because trust me, they aren't always doing the right thing either. I just think that right now, nothing that they have done in a while has appealed to me, and that any of their games that I actually care about, I'm gonna just buy on PC.
Yeah, at least for Xbox side of things, there's nothing on the horizon I would have gave 2 cents for until the Indiana Jones game, which I'll keep an eye out on that, but that would have been the only that may be Fable, but probably not Fable. It's probably the Indiana Jones thing, and that's probably the only thing at least we can see in the in the distant future. But eventually we'll get to that point where that Blade game that Xbox is responsible for making when that game comes out, I'm gonna be highly critical of it. You know how big of a Marvel fan I am, Steven, though. So I'll be highly critical of that game. And it better not be trash or they better not mess this up with like the stuff they're
Well,
doing right now.
how
I'm
much
just
do you
saying.
know about Blade? Because I know he's not in the MCU yet. I know that you're mostly MCU when it comes to Marvel
I
knowledge.
just know that at least with Blade, he's like a vampire hunter killer. And that's the
Yeah,
extent of my knowledge. But I would
that
love to see more of
yeah,
him because obviously they got plans of, working his way up in the MCU. But yeah.
he's cool, definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, I think in terms of the Xbox topics, I think I checked every one of these bullets. So I had like 5 of these bullets, and I think I managed to get through. Yeah, I think I managed to get through every single one of them, though. But any other thoughts on the Xbox side of things, Steven?
So I was just gonna say that Xbox just isn't. working out right now. I think Xbox is gonna go through a lot more layoffs in the future, and they're just
Oh
gonna
yeah, for sure.
completely move everything to PlayStation. It's not a coincidence that they moved everything to PlayStation and Switch and then shut down studios. And also remember how I don't know if you remember this, that Hi-Fi Rush, like I think on in the game there was like leaked assets that said like play anywhere and it was like in a red text. People were saying that was like a teaser for Switch.
Yeah, I heard something about that. Like some of
Like,
the stuff that was in the files, it kind of gave.
yeah,
Yeah,
Hi-Fi Rush would fit perfectly on Switch. But nope, it's just not gonna happen now. And apparently Hi-Fi Rush with its music licensing might also be in trouble on Steam. So
but there
Xbox
was
just
like a Steam version thing, so couldn't they fall
yeah,
back on that version if they ever want to
no, they could
re-release it or whatever?
no, they could delist it. Like
Mm,
they could delist it or there is they'd have to like basically go in and change music and like make it copyright free or make new tracks, which they can't do anymore.
mm.
Studios literally closing down. But yeah, them closing down specifically Tango Gameworks for me was the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm not gonna support Microsoft after that.
Yeah,
Why would I invest in their ecosystem when the things I like about it can just be destroyed at a moment's notice? And it's not even up to the consumer because the consumer everyone loved Hi-Fi Rush.
yeah. I mean, I hate the way how the direction with Xbox is going. And I'm gonna go ahead and call it now. When we finally manage to switch over from the Xbox Series console and move on over into whatever the next generation console that Sarah Bonner keeps mentioning, I feel like in like every other media press that she happens to be interviewed for, feel like Phil Spencer is going to be probably retiring some point here soon though, because I'm like, man, he was pushing Game Pass and stuff so much though, but I feel like Microsoft is probably breathing over their back pretty hard though. But I did see one comment up in here from Sam Saucy. They said Hi-Fi Rush may become the lost cult classic we all remember in the far future. Like, man, do you remember Scaled? I remember Scaled Down. Like, oh shoot, yes, yes, I remember Xbox. They were working with Platinum Games at the time, making that, and the concept of it sounded really cool. And then obviously things just didn't work out between them and Platinum, and they just have to scrap that game though. But yeah, no, I feel like for this reason alone, because of everything that's been circulating around, people are going to remember this as like a good cult classic for
It's not.
almost all of the right and wrong reasons simultaneously at the same time. It's going to be
Oh,
so
it's
weird.
Cult Classic is interesting because it's got out of its 23,000 reviews on Steam, 90% of them are positive, or 97% are positive. That is an insane number.
And yet they want to
Like
close this sucker down, man.
they want to close the studio. They have,
Oh,
and then days later they're like, "Why don't we have more smaller games that people like?
well,
What are we doing wrong? Oh my
apparently,
god!"
I know they want to make smaller games though, but apparently the development time to make Hi-Fi Rush was like 5 to 6 years. So for all sakes and purposes, it's not necessarily a small game. I would say it's like a small to medium sized game though.
No,
Like it
it's
definitely has that feel of a small game though. But I guess they want games that they can make within 3 years though. But I'm like, bro, if
fuck that.
making a game
No.
like this took that long, but yet still had that pedigree, I'm like, y'all got to bend some rules at least a little bit here.
I
Oh
I
goodness.
don't I for you didn't beat Hi-Fi Rush, right?
No, I didn't beat it. I need to get
Even
around to
just
doing
by
it whenever I reactivate
yeah,
Game Pass. Whenever I
even
get it for free.
yeah, I was just gonna say just by playing it, you could tell the effort that was put in, right?
Oh
Just
no,
by
yeah, that's
how it
better than a lot of Xbox's games. Let's keep it real.
yeah, it is so much more unique, so much more lively, and it's going to be timeless. The style is not gonna age a day. Like the cartoony style that they went for is not gonna age at all, Zard. You're gonna play this game 10 years later, and it's gonna look just as good.
Yeah, it's gonna be like one of them GameCube games, man. It's gonna age like some fine wine. I'm just
Like
saying.
I was gonna say, like Wind Waker still looks pretty good, the original to this day. It's just
Hmm.
mostly because it's not in HD.
Yeah, and even that Wii U one that they did make in HD, that's gonna hold up for a long time. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but like, yeah, it's gonna Hi-Fi Rush will be remembered. That is the only good thing about this situation is that this game died a hero.
It died a hero, and it certainly will never be forgotten. Rest in peace.
Yeah,
Xbox is going third party by like 7 years from now. I'm telling you. All right. Anyway. All right, but
I
I think
fucking hope so because of this. Yeah,
oh goodness, man, that's a whole nother can of worms for another day though, because we kind of need them to be around. But I
yeah.
digress.
Halo on PS5 would be so funny, and I would love to see them burn.
Oh goodness. All right, but yeah, that's gonna basically do it in terms of the Xbox stuff. That was a whole dumpster fire, and there was a reason why we're kind of on that topic for like a solid 40 minutes though. But we have to make our peace with this one though. I feel like the graves are getting deeper every time we bring them up on the podcast. But okay.
Yeah,
All right, but we're gonna move on to the good side of things now, because now we got to talk about Nintendo. They actually managed to do some things right, but we'll work from the least little bit of interesting news and work our way on up. Because there was a little bit of negative news with this, but it wasn't necessarily what Nintendo's fault. But apparently, them in collaboration with Twitter, I hate calling that thing X. You will no longer be
yeah.
able to share your screenshots or your videos via, your console itself and shooting it straight up to Twitter, which I find that thing pretty upsetting. But I had no idea how involved that system was with Splatoon 2 in general. And I was like, wait, what the heck? I didn't even know all of this extra compatibility and stuff with Twitter that I guess was involved with Splatoon 2, and I don't know if it was so much involved with Splatoon 3 a little bit though.
Well, obviously not because it's not shutting down the posting. That's really the only thing about this. Like, wait, is it screenshots and video? Right?
Screenshots
It's
and video.
everything?
Yeah, so if you wanna
Yeah.
share something from your console to, like, Twitter or something like that, you have to make that QR screen pop up on your TV, scan it with your phone, put it on your phone, and then upload the file from your phone to Twitter. It's similar to how you have to do it with PlayStation, but with PlayStation, at least when you take a screenshot or share it, it immediately goes to the app. So we do need an evolution of that app with the next system, like,
It's
come on,
just
Nintendo.
more
You gotta
annoying.
you gotta upgrade that app. Like there's some things
Yeah.
missing I would love to see on the PlayStation side move to Nintendo. There's a lot of things you can do. But yeah,
Yeah.
it is
And
annoying. It's ugh.
Nintendo Switch Online app definitely should just be able to link to your Switch and view your album photos. I don't necessarily know if that would work, but even then, like, I don't know, have it like transfer them over Wi-Fi connection. I don't know. Some easier way. Anything, honestly.
I feel like they have to have that workaround more so now because and the reason why it's going away is Elon Musk is, charging like buckloads of money and stuff like that. In which case, if you've seen some of those posts on Twitter, Steven, some of that mess was funny because you had like the Twitter of gaming. I guess they have like a Twitter of gaming, like dedicated official branded thing with Twitter. But they quoted the tweet that Nintendo said about them not no longer supporting this, and then they said, "Hey, despite Nintendo doing all of this stuff, we'll still make it as easy as possible to share your stuff, from your console stuff on over, though." And it was
That's
funny because
fucking
it got community noted, then it got deleted, and then came back and only got community noted again. So it was funny because even in the community notes itself, it said, "Hey, this tweet originally got deleted because it didn't want the community notes with it." Gosh, my golly, out of everything that's been
What
up
were the
on
original
Twitter,
community notes?
say what?
What were the original community notes on it?
Oh, it was just kinda explaining about the extra information that was kinda involved in all of this stuff, though. It's basically saying, hey, part of it was kinda Elon Musk's fault because of the fact that the pricing on Twitter, though, so it just kind of provides some extra reasoning why Nintendo made this decision. Kinda that kinda stuff in the notes.
Yeah, fucking.
I don't know, but it was the
Of
funniest
course,
it was the
Twitter's.
funniest mess I read on Twitter. I was like, "Oh, shoot, man. Y'all
Yeah,
know y'all messed up." So now Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo, all 3 of the major 3 are no longer supporting this mess because of how expensive you made that mess. So I don't even know how
yeah.
many people have access to the API side that are
I
willing to basically pay that price.
I don't even know what's happening with social media because apparently TikTok might get banned. Yeah, TikTok might get banned. I don't really know anyone that uses like Instagram anymore. I don't know. Like, I guess Snapchats people still use, and Twitter is obviously going down the fucking drain very quickly. We're gonna have people go back to Facebook, unironically. We're gonna have people go back to Facebook and use that as their main social media platform if this bullshit continues, or we're gonna have something else take over, like, what was that thing, Blue Sky? That, like,
Yeah,
that was
Blue
a
Sky is
that's
kinda
run
similar to Twitter, yeah.
yeah, like, that might be where people flock to if Twitter actually gets unbearable or forces people to pay, like, apparently that was a thing. Apparently that was a thing that they might force people to pay for Twitter.
Oh, and I saw some weird thing too with Twitter where it was like, "Hey, if you make a new account, it might take X amount of days before you can even reply to other people's posts."
Yeah,
When I saw that sucker pop up, I was like, "Oh shoot, let me make an extra account right here and right now." Because with me
yeah,
doing all of my stuff with my channel and stuff, I don't know when I might need to do something else with my channel or something, or if I happen to have a Twitter account go down and I need to go to an alternate account. So I was like, "Oh shoot, let me make one more account just in
yeah.
case because I can't afford that." But
Yeah, everything
it
with Twitter, it also pisses me off. Do you remember when Elon Musk, like, bought the website? He said he was trying to, like, crack down on bots on Twitter, and he shut down, like, a bunch of accounts that were, like, botted, that would, like,
yeah.
post things daily. I like how he said that, but literally in every single fucking reply section, there are so many artificial replies. Do you notice this when you're on Twitter?
Oh, shoot, please don't get me started up on this one, Stephen.
Ads
How many
ads being in
times
the replies.
I'll be scrolling through my tweets, right? And then I'll see something about link in bio or something like that. The
Pussy in
amount
bio.
Yeah, the amount of pussy or porn or stuff like that be associated in some of them tweets. I know, man. I have to say it though. Get that
You
a
go on
lot in some
trending
of my
tab.
accounts. I'll be like, bro, I don't want any of this stuff in here. I just want my gaming news. I just want my Marvel news. Like, keep all that mess out of here, man. I'm just saying though. And man, it's so annoying though. I'm like, I understand he's trying to get these bots and stuff out. And we went on a long tangent, a lot longer than I wanted to go on this Twitter account thing though. But oh shoot, man, fix your mess,
It's a
man.
big
Fix it.
deal. It's a big deal for, like, one of the biggest social medias to just not be not supported by anyone.
Goodness, yeah,
And
so
yeah, it's not even called Twitter anymore. Like, they just removed all personality too. That's another thing I hate.
and they actually changed the URL for it from it being twitter.com. Now it just says x.com. Like, if you punch in twitter.com, it reroutes to x.com.
I'm
But I
still
like how
calling it
I
Twitter.
still like how everybody, like, it's still 50-50. Like, someone can say Twitter or X, we know what you're talking about, but a lot of us, we're just gonna say Twitter.
I don't think kids are young enough to where they were born. Yeah, kids weren't born when it was called X. So I don't think we're gonna deal with that problem for a couple years. It's like, what is it, like, the Facebook company is called Meta, but they kept the name of the platform as Facebook because
Yeah,
they're not stupid?
which I wish Elon, if he wanted a company named X, name the company X, but he should have kept the Twitter thing Twitter. I just
Yeah,
don't know.
apparently he tried doing this with PayPal, which he also, like, co-founded. That was something I heard, is that he's tried to call a company X before. I don't know.
Maybe, or something like that. He has some kind of fascination with X or something like that.
Because
I don't
yeah, like
know.
SpaceX, he's a fucking weirdo. I don't
Um,
know.
and I saw that tweet in there from Sam Sauce. See, oh man, you mentioned Vine up in that. I remember Vine. Vine was a hot mess back in the
Well,
day.
Vine, I think
Oh,
Twitter bought Vine.
yeah, that's what he was saying. He's like, yeah, unfortunately, Twitter also owns Vine, and it's like that's an idea of like a. I guess he meant combined Vine returning. Well, mm,
I I think Vine returning would be fine. Like, it's basically just TikTok.
but it
Like,
was like heavily with the video side of stuff. Yeah. Mm.
yeah. But
Oh,
yeah, Twitter shit's bad. I don't wanna talk about it anymore. It's making me mad.
oh yeah, yeah. So that was probably the only thing that was probably negative with most of the Nintendo news. And everything else from this
Not even
point
their
forward,
fault.
I know, and it's not even their fault. It was definitely Elon Musk's fault, though. But I guess that's a little bit of pop culture, a little mixer right there, if you want to say that, though. But we'll keep the train rolling though, because yes, Nintendo finally did manage to come out and announce some new game, and we knew about games like, for example, what was it? We know Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door is literally coming out this week. We'll probably say a little bit more about it a little later on now. And then we know we got Luigi's Mansion 2 coming out in the month of June, and July onward for the second half of the year. We just didn't know what was coming out, and we're finally getting some pieces of the puzzle now. And we reported about on this last week's episode about the whole ESRB rating for it leaking for the Nintendo World Championships, some kind of game. But now we know it's like an NES edition for it, though, which when I saw this game originally, and they kinda came out with that trailer and stuff. They used some promotional material from all the way dating back to the 1999 or 1999, 1990 World Championships, the 2015 and the 2017 one. It was nice to see, all those different tournaments and stuff for advertising for this one game in particular, though. But it's not, like that old classic one that was on that cartridge way back in the day. But yeah, this is gonna have like a huge assortment of different NES games for like all of the three different Mario Brothers, including like Lost Levels, Kirby, Ice Climbers and stuff, Link, Metroid, Kid Icarus, you name it. And there's just a whole bunch of speed running challenges, which I know you in particular, Steven, you love some speed running. Am I right or am I wrong?
I already pre-ordered the game. What do you think?
And you pre-ordered the physical version, right?
Yes, of course I did.
Okay,
I've
okay.
been on kind of a physical kick with Nintendo. Like it's like, I'd much rather have these games preserved than my library because Nintendo, there's no guarantee whether backwards compatibility will be in. So if I'm gonna have to keep my old system around to play these games, I'd rather just pop in the cartridges.
No, that's true. I'm kinda like you too, at least when it comes to first party games, I definitely have to get more of them physically because of the fact how I think on my Switch I have like 5 to 8 gigabytes left. And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm not gonna download any more games because who knows with DLCs and updates and stuff." Like, Splatoon 3 is still getting updates and stuff. I need
Yeah,
that extra space for stuff like that. So I'm like, I'll just get anything else on the Switch now, I'll just pick it up physical. But no, this game right here looks really cool in terms of, like, all the different speedrunning challenges. They're even gonna have some events up in the game where it's like they're gonna have it on rotation. So, like, you might have, like, 3 or 4 challenges up on 1 week, and they'll rotate out with something else. So some similar kinda, I would say infrastructure is like what we kinda get with some of the Tetris 99 games as well as the, F-Zero 99 stuff for those NSO
yeah.
games. So
Like,
I'm seeing a nice good blend and balance of all of this stuff.
yeah, but if you ask me, something like this, as much as I like the physical release and I already bought it, I don't think this should have been a paid release. I think this should have been an NSO game.
So you
It,
weren't
like,
satisfied with this game with it being, mind you, if you got the game physical like us, it's $60 with the extra goodies, but if you're just
yeah,
okay with getting it
I
digital, it's 30 bucks.
I just personally think it's a little too much. Like, I don't, and the fact it doesn't even come with the NES games. There's this disclaimer on the trailer saying, on like the product page, that it doesn't actually come with the NES games. Would that have been so hard, Nintendo? Like to release the games that you're like with it's like a compilation of a bunch of different games. Like it'd be cool to at least have the full versions of those games included. They're NES games after all. And
Yeah.
like I'm it's it this is just NES Remix again. Like I don't know if you played NES Remix,
No, I
but
have it. I have it on the Wii. I
uh,
think I have
yeah,
both versions, but yeah.
I beat both of them and like I don't know. Like it's just gonna be more NES Remix. The thing that I'm excited for is them calling this NES edition, meaning that hopefully if this does well, they'll do
Oh,
more.
finally, we'll do a Super Nintendo one. I'm surprised they didn't even do, like, Super Nintendo, remix and stuff even during that Wii U era. It kinda seems like it'll be the next easiest thing to do. So, hopefully, yes, this does bode well for something with Super Nintendo stuff as well, 'cause I think they could do a lot of cool stuff with that one, though, too. But yeah, I'm a sucker for the physical stuff. I like getting that gold cartridge and stuff. And then obviously, if you have the NES controllers, those NES online controllers, you can use it while playing this game, which that will be my way of playing it because I own quite a bit of these NES games though. So it'll be nice just to have those unique challenges and stuff like that. Give a little bit of extra flair to these super old NES games at the end of the day though. So is this gonna light the world on fire? Not necessarily so, but at the same point it is a little bit of something considering how we know that it might be next year, 2025, when we get the next new system. So it's like, what can Nintendo pump out in the second half of the year to kind of keep people involved in their ecosystem and not completely, just lose an audience of people. But that's kind of what I see this game as. So I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna personally
Well,
like it.
it's better than Luigi's Mansion 2, which listen, I'm probably
Oh
gonna
shoot, you
buy.
don't like Luigi's Mansion 2 like that? Gosh dang.
No, it's not that I don't like Luigi's Mansion 2, it's that I'm absolutely not excited for a remake of Luigi's Mansion 2 at this time. Like
Uh
of all games to remake Luigi's Mansion 2, that's
Well, I
my
guess I
thoughts on
guess
it.
they're just trying to get, well, hold on, because at this point it'll be like what? The second game's on the Switch, the third game's on the Switch. I imagine they're
Yeah,
kinda
but
going
like
back and forth between remaking stuff and having new stuff, so I imagine on the Switch 2, we'll have Luigi's Mansion 4, then they'll go back and remake the first one on that same
I
console, then they'll do Luigi's Mansion 5. I feel like that's the pattern that
I
they're gonna do with, next level games.
I think you're looking way too into the future on that. If you ask me, I think they should have just done a collection of 1 and 2.
Hmm.
I think they should have because there's a
But they know
3DS version
but
of
they know they
1.
can get away with selling this sucker for $60 though. You gotta think
Yeah,
in Nintendo's
yeah, but
mind.
yeah, but I'm not gonna I'm gonna be fair here. That's the exact same kind of shit I criticized Microsoft and Sony for.
Yeah.
The exact same kind of stuff, I'd be like, "Come on, guys." Like, Nintendo can get away with a lot. They can get away with selling Thousand Year Door at 60 because I will buy it anyway. Yes, that is true, but not I'm not gonna stand for this. Like, it was a 3DS game originally released for $40, went on sale permanently for fucking $20. It should not be 60.
Yeah,
It
but I
didn't
might
even
have to get it anyway. Oh, that's the funny thing too. I have it on my 3DS, but gosh by golly,
yeah.
I like playing stuff on my big flat screen TV. So I might
What
just get this at some point. I might not get it like as soon as possible, but I might wait until it drops to 40 because we know Nintendo games around the holiday seasons, they'll get down as low as 40, but don't expect it to get lower than that. So I might
I don't
just wait.
I don't even know if it's 60 FPS or not. I'm checking this as we're speaking, honestly.
I don't think they confirmed that unless you're looking at some footage. I don't even know Digital Founders did anything on it though. So I don't think there's any official word out, and I feel like we're still too far out from us
No, but
really knowing. But yeah,
yeah, but like the fact of the matter is, like, obviously there's the whole drama about Thousand Year Door being 30 FPS, but at least that game has very big visual upgrades. While Luigi's Mansion 2 just looks like an upscaled 3DS game. It better be able to handle like good frame rates. Because the original, I don't know if you remember, Luigi's Mansion 2 ran at like 20 FPS.
hmm.
That game went from 20 all the way to 45. It jumped up and down. It was at an
I wonder
unlocked
if some of
60.
that was because of the if you had the 3D slider on, which when I actually
No,
did,
not necessarily. The 3D
hmm.
slider didn't affect the performance of games all that much. At least
But
not
they did a
majorly.
little bit because I mean
A
I actually
little.
looked at
There were
some
no,
games and
there
it was
were
like wow.
no, there are some games that have 60 FPS modes if you turn off the 3D, but
I
not
think
that
Street
many.
Fighter was one of those on the
Yes,
3DS, and I was
yes,
like, "What
it
the
was.
heck?"
Yeah, it was. No, but I don't know, man. Just Switch 2 better come soon because this lineup is not looking all that great after July. Because, but that's what the June Direct is gonna be for, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. Alright, well, that's pretty much it in terms of the one game we got confirmed, at least coming for the month of July. So now we get to flip over, now we get to talk about some good old spicy numbers, Steven, though, but, yeah, so we just managed to get the fiscal reports, and this is for the whole entire fiscal year that we had from basically April of 2023 all the way to March of 2024. So yeah, so with this comes all the good old numbers and stuff. Like we know our top 10 and stuff. And obviously this is when they kind of confirmed the Switch 2 stuff, but we'll talk about that next as soon as we're done with all these numbers though. I'm trying to pull up this stuff. I thought I had all of this stuff up in here though. Oh, here we go. It's kinda crazy though, because actually now at this point though, there's 67 known first party million sellers on the Nintendo Switch. That's
Good.
crazy to think about it right there. When you just look at all of that stuff right there though. I was like, "What the heck though?"
I wonder how many the Wii U had. Probably like 5.
Yeah. Maybe.
Two
5 or
of them
6.
being
Yeah.
Mario games. No, actually, probably 3 of them. It was probably Mario Maker 3D World and Mario Kart, and then Splatoon and Smash. I don't think any other game made it,
Yeah. And
which
I
is sad.
which I guess in terms of these numbers, when we're looking at all of this stuff right now, okay, I finally got all the numbers in front of me though. The Nintendo Switch It's currently at 141.32 million units sold, which now there's only 2 consoles that are above it. It's the Nintendo DS and it's the PS2. Now, I think it's possible for them to beat the Nintendo DS. Now, whether or not they're gonna beat the PS2, which it's kind of funny now. Like the official numbers was 155 before Jim Ryan said on the way out the door, oh, it actually sold 160. I think a lot of people are gonna have to take it from not necessarily his word of mouth, it's from what the company itself said. So we're gonna hold them down to 155 million though. I think it's possible, but it depends on how long Nintendo supports the system
But
within
these,
like a hybrid year, like for the next 2 years, whenever the Switch 2 is also out at the same point.
well, yeah, these are based on official sales numbers. While I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that play thing was not like an actual statement from them, for example. You know,
But
to be a little particular, we'll just go with that.
yeah, let me see here. Thought I had the top 10 thing right here though. But yeah, so
I
honestly,
think
that's
that's
pretty
the
good.
exact
And
same.
okay, here we go. Okay, yeah, here we go. All right, so we'll go ahead and just talk about the top 10 right here, though, and then we'll get to the specifics for some of the games that happened so within the past quarter, though. But at number 10, we have somehow Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, and that's at 17.45 million. I'll exclude the million. I'll just say the seven, whatever the number is.
It killed
Tears of
Mario Maker 2.
Yeah,
If
Tears of the Kingdom
fuck it.
hasn't really been growing that much, but it's at
Yep.
20.61. Like it sold all of it, I think, within the first month or two, maybe
Well,
three
yeah,
at most. And
because
that was ooh.
people realize, oh, that was fun. Don't want to play it again though.
Yeah, so it was just all your diehardists out there that remember Breath of the Wild that were looking for Tears of the Kingdom, but it doesn't seem like its legs are gonna be nearly as long as like, as Breath of the Wild's was. Number 8, Super Mario Party at 20.66. Holy shoot. Then you have Scarlet and Violet at 24.92 million. Okay. Sword and Shield, a couple steps above him.
Fuck
Coming in at
you, Jordan.
26.27 million. Still surprising how those ones are like 2 million ahead. But I think always with the Pokemon games, whichever one comes out first for whatever generation that is, it just happens to sell more even than the one that happens after it. It just happens to be the thing. Super Mario Odyssey at 27.96, practically 28. Breath of
Probably
the
best
Wild.
selling Mario game, right?
Say what?
Probably best selling Mario, like mainline
No,
Mario
I
game of
think it
all
is. I
time.
think it is at this point. It's the best. Well, shoot. Hold on.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
about to say yes until I thought about the
For
OG
Mario Brothers, yeah.
Mario Brothers. I'm like, wait a minute, that might hold more. But 3D Mario's definitely.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, Breath of the Wild coming in at 31.85 million.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know
I
that.
didn't even know it was that
I
high.
think that thing sold like another like 300,000 something within the past quarter alone or something crazy
Exact
like that. I was like,
more than Tears
golly.
of the Kingdom.
Yeah. And then so I guess you're gonna have people wanting to play the first game before the second. So I think that might explain some of those numbers
Makes
there.
sense.
And then the top three, we got Super Smash Brothers Ultimate coming in at 34.22. So that's pretty good right there. Number two, Animal Crossing New Horizons at 45.36. Doesn't have really long legs. It kind of burned most of them during COVID though, but the fact it's still up that high, my gosh. And then the king that never can be stopped, Steven. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe rounding that corner at 61.97 million units. I think if you combine the sales with that and the ones that sold on Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U originally, it's close to 70 million. Which is
It
oh gosh.
it's totally deserved. It's the best Mario Kart game, if you ask me. Like
Yeah.
I'm a nostalgia whore for Wii. I will like I love Wii to death. I will defend that game, but eight's better. It has 96 tracks now, a lot of them from Wii,
They
and it
should have
has the
just
best
rounded it
item.
up to
Yeah,
100 at this point.
has a great roster, has an actual good battle mode now, and has just everything. It has everything you want. It has custom items now. Custom items by itself is so fucking good.
No, yeah, I really love the mess out of that mess. And here lately, I actually was going through and competing in Nintendo's tournament thing, and I figured out I might as well call it quits because if you really want to win some money out of this or be invited, you really got to majority of y'all your races need to be like first place or second place, and I got a couple of sixes and some eights up in there. I was like, all right, I'll see y'all next weekend. But yeah, so honestly, yeah, that's a really good game. We did manage to get some updated numbers for some of the games that sold throughout last year. Like for example, Super Mario RPG Remake that sold about 3.31 million units, so not bad for the first of I guess the series of the whole entire like RPG Mario series though. So 3.31
Did
is
you
nothing to
beat that
scoff at.
yet?
No, not yet. Here's a whole nother side tangent right here. Yes, I know some of y'all out there probably been watching my streams on my extra channel for it though. Feel like I'm 2 or 3 streams away from beating the game. But life just caught me up and I was like, I just hadn't gotten around to it though.
Oh
But
yeah.
I'm hoping this Thursday I might be able to get back to it. And hopefully within the next 2 or 3 streams, so that'd be 2 or 3 weeks, I can finish it up. But I still love the
You
game though. It's really good.
you yeah, I was about to say, like, because last time I asked you about it, like, I didn't really get your thoughts. What are you up to?
I'm up to that Cloud Kingdom. Like I
Okay.
beat the phony queen, whoever was trying to impersonate Mallow. That's where I'm at right now.
No, I gotcha.
What?
It's great,
Hold on, did I
great,
beat
great
that
game.
boss? No, I
What?
did not beat that boss. I'm fighting the boss right now, and I think I paused right
Okay.
before. I didn't beat the boss, but that's where I'm at right now. I think yeah, that's it.
I gotcha. No, but yeah, side tangents over. That game's great, and it deserves it. It's one of the best SNES. If you ask me, it's like probably the best SNES game, and it got perfectly carried over. Like everything that you would have wanted from a Mario RPG remake
Yeah.
was handled correctly. But yeah, good game. Obviously, very good game. Uh,
Let's see here. Oh, and then
oh,
we also got Pikmin 4 at 3.48 million. So I don't say that's too bad for Pikmin. It would have been nice just to round it up to 4. Pikmin 4 sold 4 million. Would have had a nice little ring
yeah,
to it.
it will probably make up to 4 million. I don't know if you've realized Nintendo's been marketing the hell out of this game. They've been tweeting about it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it is the highest selling Pikmin game now. And gosh, I don't 100% a lot of games, but I did with that one though, so it was good. Kirby and the Forgotten Land, 7.52 million. That's definitely the
Yeah,
highest for the whole entire Kirby series. Like, if you were to see a chart, like, which ones, a bar graph essentially of showing like the sales of each game in the whole entire series. Yeah, that one's definitely the highest by a landslide.
deserves it. It is such a good starting point, honestly. If you've never played a Kirby game, but it's also probably the ultimate Kirby game for fans too. And
Yeah.
then
So
I don't did we find out about Return the Dreamland Deluxe, or are
Oh,
you gonna
Return to
say it?
Dream. It's I got the numbers here somewhere. I had to do some digging on it, but we got some numbers. I just had to find it real quick. But it's not in whatever this tweet I'm looking at right now. But hopefully I can get it before we're done wrapping this segment up.
Yeah,
Splatoon 3 is at 11.96 million, so almost about to hit 12. And I think that's the thing I noticed with Splatoon. It sells really good. It gets up to that 10, 11 inch, and then it kind of stays right there. I think
it's all
Splatoon
the
2, if I
Splatoon
don't
fans
remember
bought
right,
it.
I think, yeah, the Splatoon fans, I think we're just a solid 10 million plus club right now, which beats a lot of other games that Nintendo happens to drop, but whatever. Super Mario Brothers Wonder. So we know that game came out October of last year. That's at 13.44 million units. So it's a ways off from trying to catch Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe by like what? It's like 4 million off from it getting into the top 10. So yeah, we got numbers for that. 3D World plus Bowser's Fury is at 13.47. Feel like that one gets a little bit of sales here and there though, but it's nothing crazy. And then Luigi's Mansion 3 is at like 14.25. So yeah, not too bad. Not too bad overall. Let me see here.
Luigi's Mansion 3 being that high is interesting. I love the game, obviously. It's just did I didn't expect that.
Yeah. Let me see here. I think what was it? You said the Kirby one was the one you wanted it? Because I got this whole entire sheet that shows
Kirby's
like the
Return. If you have Kirby's Return the Dreamland Deluxe, yes.
aha. It's about 1.82 million. is where
That's
we're at.
expected.
It's a remake of a Wii game, and they added a
It's a
little bit of new
remaster.
stuff.
It's a remaster, honestly.
Yeah,
Enhanced port. Uh, eh, no, it's a remaster. I'm not giving it enough credit. That game's great, by the way.
yeah.
No, but yeah, lot of good sales. Like, I mean, I'm assuming that these budgets weren't $60 million either.
Oh, heck
Or
no, no.
like yeah, these were probably lower budget games. So look at that, Nintendo thrives once again.
Oh, yeah, here's a couple of other ones. I finally found the person that was doing all of this, though. Mario versus Donkey Kong. Remember that shipped out in February of this year? That one's at
Yeah,
1.12 million units only in 6 weeks. So that was
that
fairly
well,
good for a
yeah, but
game of that small size.
to be fair though, 6 weeks, that's a majority of the that's a majority of the people that will buy it, unless that game goes on like a pretty good sale eventually. Like, not many people are gonna buy that game post launch. But guess what? That's just another game to add to Nintendo Switch's library. Like,
Yeah, and it's like one of
for
those
people
games. It's
getting
like
to the Switch, you have that's just another one.
yeah, and this is one of those games that's just in a whole nother genre. Like we get puzzle games from Nintendo, but it's not like super often.
Yeah,
So it's like, hey, that's just to fill another niche for fans of that series, though. So that's really nice. And then Princess Peach Showtime sold 1.22 million units in only 10 days.
that's pretty good. That's yeah. I think Nintendo's expecting this game to sell a lot more later on. Like, just, it's gonna be like a game that just kind of grows whenever like more people see. I'm assuming they were just trying to target the, I don't know, not to be sexist, they were probably targeting the girl audience, like little girl audience with this
Man,
game.
but they weren't doing it as hard as like Super Princess Peach, man. I kind of find that
Yeah,
game a little more appealing.
Super
Showtime, I give
Princess
it a
Peach,
buzz.
Super Princess Peach is fucking stupid, Zard. It's not
But
a
I
good
love
game.
platforming games, Steven, and this ain't it right here.
Yeah, but it has good pixel. Have you played Princess Peach Showtime?
I don't know, but I heard the boss was kind of sick.
The bosses are good. I haven't beaten the game, mind you. The bosses I have faced so far are good, and it is extremely charming. It's an easier game, but like, I know you're fine with easy games. It's an easier game with tons of charm and variety throughout the levels.
Well, hold on
Like,
here. You say I like easier games. I looked at Princess Peach and I was like, wait, that's a little too easy for me. So that's the reason why I ain't picking it up. But
I don't know. Like, it really depends on the person, honestly. But like, I don't know. There's a lot of collectibles in each stage. That's the bulk of your difficulty right there, I guess.
y- yeah, if you like collectathons, then I could, see some of the appeal.
For $60 though, probably not. I don't that's
Yeah,
that's my
no,
conclusion
no,
about that game.
no. Yeah, so yeah, so at least I heard some of your thoughts on it because I knew I wasn't gonna buy it. So between you and Sonic, I was just gonna make my peace with that game on with that one though. But I think in terms of all the numbers, I think we ran through most of the important ones. So that about covers us on at least most of these numbers. Was there any other game you were curious about hearing the numbers? Because I got the whole entire million seller list here. I'll probably have to zoom in real
Um,
close to see if I needed to.
you know what? A game that I don't think sold a million, Advance Wars. Where is it?
Oh, Oh shoot. I know for that one, I gotta look at the bottom of the list if I can even find it.
If that sold a million, I'll be genuinely surprised. Because I have it, it's a good game and all, but like,
No, it's
I
not at
don't.
the bottom of the list. So I do. Dang, I messed up my aspect ratio. But I know it's not. Or I knew it hadn't sold a million. That's for sure. So I'm thinking it's probably on the lines of maybe. Well, shoot, would be doing good if it sold at least 500,000. But I know it's not at least a million. So it's smaller than that.
Apparently, it didn't even come out in Japan.
Wait, what?
Apparently, like, it wasn't marketed at all in Japan. I don't know.
Oh.
Like, I don't see. I'm not even saying. I'm not seeing anything about the sales, man.
No, I hadn't seen anything either. So I'm like, it's a little,
It reviewed well and all that. Like, I'm glad they even brought back the series, but I don't see it coming back after this.
yeah.
I think the last one was on DS.
Yeah, I would love to see it because I mean I do like strategy games. You know me, I like some Fire Emblem and stuff. It would have been cool to see it, and eventually I probably will need to pick that game up. I probably need to pick it up physically because those games, in terms of their series and their releases and stuff, it's man they can never catch a break. Always release around some kind of war, but man,
Yeah.
it is a little bit sad. But I mean, when you push a game out that much and then you don't really market it because of the real world events and stuff, it's like you kind of expect that. But I guess they paid way for it enough where they were kind of content with it either way, and I guess they just kind of
Game
move
just
on
got
from it.
unlucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like Nintendo's games are in a good spot sales wise. That's really all that matters, huh?
Yep, that's pretty much all that matters. So I think outside of that, that's all the numbers I got to report on here. So we'll go ahead and move it on over to the big main hot topic for the week. And yes, I am talking about the Nintendo Switch 2 confirmation and the confirmation for the June Nintendo Direct. Yes, they managed to come out and say that. So let's go ahead and hop into this one last topic. All right, Steven. So we're finally to that point now where it's like, hey, we've been waiting long enough for the Nintendo Switch 2. There's been rumors going about it left and right, up and down. It felt like we're getting rumors like at least every like few weeks or so, though. But Nintendo finally came out. It wasn't necessarily in their investors meeting when they did all this fiscal report and stuff. It was kind of like a little bit outside of that, though. But they finally came out and said a statement that yes, the Nintendo Switch 2 is real and will present some more information on it within the upcoming fiscal year. Now, mind you, fiscal years for Nintendo, they run from like the start of April to the March of the following year. So, between some point between now and March of 2025 at the latest, March 31st, we should get something on the equivalent side of like them showing off that Nintendo Switch back in 2016 when they kind of showcase off of like a reveal, like what the system looks like, a name, basic stuff like that. We're supposed to get it some point within this upcoming year. And they did kind of temper expectations a little bit because they also said, hey, June Nintendo Direct is going to be confirmed to be releasing that month, but don't expect any news about the Switch 2. So at the earliest, now we're all on watch now. It's kind of like going from like a it's like going from like just, having some clear day to a tornado watch. Like we're all on the lookout now. And so basically July onward, we can get the news dropping at any given point though. But man, Steven, like what were you thinking whenever you saw this original statement from this original statement from Nintendo themselves. And stuff was real whenever the tweet started off as this is Furukawa. And you're like, oh shoot, you better wipe the crust out your eyes
Yeah.
if you're halfway asleep.
I woke up at like this was my day off, I think. I had slept in and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then I went back to bed. I seen it. I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And I slept for another 2 hours and I was like, "Wait a second. What did that actually say?" No, but
You slept on on your first
yeah.
interaction.
I was just like, "Oh shit, that's cool. Finally." And I went back to bed. No, but obviously, like I think if you ask me, I think Nintendo's smart enough to just do the exact same thing they did with the Switch. Reveal it in October, have it come out in March. And if we're talking about launch games, I think we're definitely here's the twist, Zard. I don't think we're gonna see the Switch 2 at the showcase. I think we're gonna see the launch title for the Switch 2 at the showcase, however.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let's take
I
this thing
think
one.
we're at least
Let's
gonna
take this
see a
thing.
preview. I think they're gonna announce at least some games and say that they will be coming to other systems. Remember when Sonic Forces, like on the trailer, said NX back in the day, and
Oh yeah, I
that
remember
was the
that.
first. That was the first game officially announced for NX. Since we don't have a code name yet, I don't think like we're gonna get that, but I think Nintendo will announce in this showcase when they'll be talking about the Switch 2. I think in this direct they'll be like I don't know, if we're lucky, they might even announce the date that they'll be showing off the Switch 2.
But wouldn't that play into the rules of, hey, don't expect anything or any news about the Nintendo? Hold on, hold on. I got the tweet right
Was
here
it
in
was
front of
it
me.
any news or just like
Hold,
about it was any news about it in that showcase? It could come shortly after. I don't
okay,
know. I just think,
yeah, let me read
you
the
know,
second half of the statement. They said
yeah.
we will be holding a Nintendo Direct this June regarding the Nintendo Switch software lineup for the later half of 2024. But please be aware there will be no mention of Nintendo Switch successor during this
Okay.
presentation. So that you
Then
got to
yeah.
roll out what you just say.
But they're gonna show off Metroid Prime 4, and they're also gonna eventually reveal it's coming to the Switch 2 as well, with upgrades. Because come on,
I do
Nintendo's
you a
not
bold one in
stupid.
that June
Nintendo's not
Nintendo
stupid,
Direct.
bro.
They ain't showing Metroid Prime 4, bro. They're waiting until the Switch 2 is actually like we got something tangible for it or a code name or a name, and then they might start showcasing
I
this
think
sucker out. I
Metroid
think they're
Met
holding off until
uh,
that big presentation whenever they show off
well,
the next successor.
there's also the possibility that Metroid Prime is gonna be the big game at the end of this year. Like I feel like Nintendo's smart enough because didn't Nintendo say some stupid shit how they want to sell another like 10 million projected this year?
Oh, yeah, in terms of the fiscal, yeah, it basically will be slightly going over the sales of what the Nintendo DS did. So that's
Only
their forecast. Yeah.
only way they are doing that is with some family games and with a big heavy hitter that people have not been expecting, which is why I think that in this direct we're gonna get a new Donkey Kong game and we're gonna get a new Mario Party game because I feel
Boy,
like
these people, Steven, ain't ready for me to play a new Donkey Kong game, man. I've been waiting over a decade, man. Shoot, my
I don't
face
know.
is over here. Like, bruh, Wrinkly Kong is wrestling in her grave right now. She's been in that grave for how many years now? And she has not seen her old pappy over there, Cranky Kong, manage to get another
Yeah,
game. I'm telling you this right now. If Nintendo comes out with some kind of Donkey Kong collaboration thing, some kind of anniversary thing or something like that to kind of move some hardware over here, sign me up on day one. I want my review copy. I will do this thing justice. I don't like bananas that much, but I'll eat a banana from my boy DK. I'm just saying.
no.
Oh
But I
goodness.
think, well, yeah, I was gonna say the Donkey Kong thing. I'll be honest, like I don't know if it's gonna be 2024, maybe. Like I don't know. I think a new Donkey Kong game has been in development because apparently, I don't know. Apparently, there was like some Donkey Kong game that was being worked on by a different studio that got canceled. Like there was a
Oh,
whole
that
leak
3D
that came out.
one something. Yeah,
It
something
was
like
it
that
was
was kind of
being it
floating
was
around.
yeah, it was a rumor that it was being developed by Vicarious Visions, who made Crash Insane trilogy, and it was going to be like a 3D Donkey Kong game. You know, because of their work on Skylanders, where Donkey Kong crossed over. But basically, I don't know. I think Kirby got his big 3D showcase again, and Donkey Kong's kind of been stuck in 2D for a while. It's not that a Donkey Kong game in 3D can't work. That's stupid. That's a stupid thing to say. A Donkey Kong game in 3D did work. It just, could be improved. Like imagine if after Mario 64, they just did no more 3D Mario games, Zard. Just imagine that world where they were just like, you know what? Mario 64, it was a little jank in areas. We're just never gonna do it again.
Oh man, that was the pioneer, man. I'm glad we're not
Yeah.
down that alternative dark road, man. My life
And
wouldn't
this
be the same.
and especially, come on, they literally have a DK part of their amusement park
Oh,
being
and that
built.
too.
Donkey Kong may be getting some course either a more important part in the second movie or a spin-off of his own. Nintendo definitely is doing something with Donkey Kong, and it'd be moronic for them not to capitalize with some kind of game out at the time. Maybe it will be like, coinciding with the Switch 2 and you can have these really beautiful looking jungle environments. Maybe not. I think a Donkey Kong game is coming within this next year though. About the Mario Party game, however, it's a lock. Of course a Mario Party game is
Wait,
coming.
and hold on here, because Oh shoot, yeah, we
Come
did get some
on.
information on this. Midori,
Yeah.
who's a really
Yeah.
prevalent leaker and stuff, usually with Sega and Atlas. Somehow she got some news and stuff with some Nintendo stuff as well. Even dug up into
Code
like some
names.
code names and stuff, like how there could be a version that's or that would be working for the Switch 2 for like Breath of the Wild, which probably would be a good game to showcase. Also, hey, this is how the Switch looks. This is how the Switch 2 also looks, though. But I think, well, one of those code names she mentioned, I think, was something similar to the developers that usually work on Mario Party games. So that's why everybody's thinking a Mario Party game could be happening soon.
Oh, no.
And
It's not the people that usually work on Mario Party games, it is the people that fucking only work on Mario Party games, Zard. They have
well,
only ever
when I say
done
usually,
Wii
I mean
yeah,
because they did like the Wii Party and stuff like that, though. But I mean,
which is
yes,
basically
it's
just
always
Mario
that.
Party. That was Wii Party was just Mario Party when they felt bored and didn't wanna do a Mario Party anymore. You know, because they did 8 and then they went and did the stupid shit with the car for 9 and 10. So
I mean,
instead,
Wii
they did,
Party is
like,
a
Wii
good game,
Party.
y'all. If y'all hadn't played it,
Well,
that's
yeah, it
actually
is.
kind of good.
I'm not saying it's not, but yeah, then they made a Wii Party U after that, and then 10.
I didn't dabble with that.
I don't know, Wii Party U is fine, but back to the topic. They literally only do party games, and they're definitely doing a Mario Party game because what if when Nintendo's not doing anything with the Mii's anymore? That and at least nothing important. I don't know. And come on, Mario Party does this. Mario Party had it had 8 and 9 on Wii. It was only 2 games, but every system before that, 1, 2, and 3 were on on N64.
64.
Game yeah, GameCube had 4, 5, 6, and 7, all
That was too
separated.
many in mine, but ooh, they
It
were
was
pumping
one
those
it was
things
one
out like, shoot, popping them things out like guppies out of a fish, man.
No, it was one too many. Like 7 was definitely where the oh no, 7 was good, but 6 is definitely where the series peaked. And now we had Super Mario Party in 2018. We had Mario Party 10 before that in 2015. So like the between the main console Mario parties, it's been 3 years, and then Superstars was 3 years later in 2021. It's only natural to assume that they only take 3 years to make these games, and now that they have a bunch of high quality like assets from Mario Party Superstars already made, and they understand how to make a actual good Mario Party game now, because Mario Party Superstars had good boards and stuff. Maybe they will actually make a good one this time.
Feel like if this is true and we get another Mario Party game now, the question is it mainline like, Mario Party Super 2, or is it something more akin to Mario Party Superstars? I'm leaning more so on the Superstars, but maybe they'll go through and say, "Hey, we took boards from the 64 era, now we're gonna take boards and have a more emphasis on the GameCube
Like,
era," which
listen,
I
I
think
would
that's the
have
way they gotta
no
go.
I'd have no problem with that. I just think we're definitely getting something. Because why the fuck does Super Mario Party get online support 5 years later I think it was either
Oh,
4 or 5 years later it got online support. They just randomly did that. Nothing else. They didn't add anything else to the game. But Mario Party Superstars, which people desperately wanted updates for, gets nothing.
no, I think
Makes
they
no
did the
sense.
updates to Super Mario Party, the kind of beta test, that online feature and stuff that they were doing for
I
Superstars.
guess.
I stand firm on that fact because it was like only a handful of months before Superstars managed to come out. And I'm like, no, there's no reason why you would have updated Super and do that years later and then turn around and
Yeah.
have a new game. I'm fully confident that I feel like
I
that's the
guess
reason why.
Yeah, I guess maybe the only reason why they don't want to do a Mario Party game with like DLC for boards is because, like, I guess maybe all 4 people would have to own it, or maybe only one person would have to own it, and then Nintendo wouldn't get as much money out of you. Either way,
Oh, if you
either
were doing it
way,
online, yeah, like
either
Mario
way,
Kart.
though, Nintendo's always done this because for the consumer, at least, it's a lot easier to just buy your party game and have everything included in the box. That's why the Jackbox party packs release yearly with like, 5 new games in them each year with sometimes some reused ones because people don't want to have to, people just want to open up a party game and have fun. They don't want to have to worry about DLC and unlocking stuff and this and that.
Yeah. So at
But
least what was it? At least between what we got right now, the DK game, I feel like that's pretty good. The Mario Party game, that feels pretty good. We have or I said remix, any World Championship NES edition. So that's 3 games. So that could be ideally July, August, and September. What we got left? October, November. I wouldn't count on a game
And
coming out in December. So there's only 2 more games I think we might shoot to have something released. Metroid could be a chance, or shoot, if it's not Metroid Prime 4, there's a good chance we could get like Metroid Prime 2 and just like have an HD version of that, like how
yeah,
they did with, the original Metroid Prime. I can see that happening.
but I don't see it being nearly as in depth and detailed as Metroid
No,
Prime
no, not
Remastered.
no. It'll be very simple, straightforward. Yeah.
I think if we have to think of other franchises, Rhythm Heaven usually always comes in like before a
At the
console's
ninth
death.
hour. Mm.
Like I could see it, but like I don't know. I think it's the same people that do WarioWare, and they just put out a new WarioWare game, so maybe not.
Steven,
But
we're
I don't
forgetting
know.
we're forgetting about our cash cow boy that Nintendo never forgets
What
about.
what
Sakurai made him.
Pokemon?
Kirby.
Oh,
Something Kirby's happening in the second half of this
no.
year. They never I you have to look back and see when they never missed a gear, would have been a main line, a spin-off, or just a quick eShop something.
Oh,
It,
do you
it
mean do you mean literally anything? Because yeah, they'll probably do a
anything. Like it
remake.
could be an eShop thing, but I'm
No,
expecting
no,
something Kirby in the second half of the year.
they'll do a remake. They'll do like Triple Deluxe remade or Planet Robobot remade. If
Better
they're
not do
smart,
triple deluxe because I
if
just
they're
put that
smart, they'll
sucker on
do
the
Robobot.
3DS.
Robobot's a great game. If they're
All right,
smart,
you could
they'll
do
just do that
robot.
game.
Yeah, do Robobot. Do that one.
Or I don't know if maybe they'll. There's not really any other four-player games. I don't really know, like because they probably would want to do something with co-op. Kirby's Epic Yarn had co-op, but they already did that on 3DS. So I don't know if Nintendo's really gonna go and do that or at like a second port of that game.
Yeah.
Um, it's really difficult because I do think Kirby's gonna get something. Maybe it will just get another little eShop game. Yeah, maybe you're right about that. But if we're talking about franchises that are actually gonna get like a real game, I think we're finally gonna get Twilight Princess slash Wind Waker just to
Oh,
fill up
that's
one
the
of
other
those dead
one. I
months.
knew I was forgetting one. That's the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Pokemon's getting something. I don't
No, no,
think
no,
it's
no,
gonna
no, 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 Steven. Pokemon ain't getting squat this year. Remember,
it's getting a spinoff.
Legend Z is getting released in 2025. Then Pokemon Company's taking a break this year. I don't think
Nah,
anything's happening this year.
I think we're getting spinoff, whether
Well,
it's the next Mystery
there's like
Dungeon
spin-offs like
remake
the
or
mobile stuff, like the TCG stuff and whatever. Though I'm expecting that to happen this year,
yeah,
but
but
I'm not expecting anything else spin-off wise new that we hadn't heard about
I don't know. At the
because we got
we're
most of it
gonna
listed out in the February presentation. Remember?
yeah, but we're gonna get a Pokemon Presents, obviously. And if you ask me, I don't think they're just, Pokemon Sleep. I guess they'll do their regular, they'll just go through all their mobile games real quick. They'll show a new trailer for Legends Za, and then I don't know. I think we're gonna get some kind of spin-off, getting like a new game.
Because
Oh,
that
like
Pokemon Presents
mystery,
usually happens in September, and I
yeah,
can't see them releasing something too quick of a turnaround from announcement to
yeah.
release.
If I had to think of something they could probably make easily that they already have assets for, like they could do a remake of the other Mystery Dungeon games. What was it, Explorers of Sky or whatever the game
Oh,
was.
oh
That
my
already
gosh.
they already made a definitive version of those games. I think it was the Sky one.
It was the Sky Woman. No, man, that'll be the one game I'll be like, shoot, I might have to buy this sucker because I skipped out on the one that was a remake of the GBA games for that Mystery Dungeon one. I skipped that one. But no, Explorers of Time, Darkness slash Sky are like the peak of Mystery Dungeon. I don't think anything else ever came close. If they re-release that sucker, remaster, remake it or something on the Switch, I'm gonna have to cop that mess. Because man, that tells a story right there, man. That shook me up as a kid though. Oh goodness. I
But
maybe we'll get it
yeah.
at some point. I don't know.
But yeah, I think this year is definitely gonna be their slow year, obviously. But
We
I
say
don't know, like
slow year. Like look at this man. It's like what? January you had another co recollection. February you had Mario versus Donkey Kong. March, what was it? The Princess Peach Showtime. April was nothing. May you got Thousand Year Door. June you got Luigi's Mansion 2. July you had the NES remix. And then we're going down the theoretical side of things though. Imagine if they would have had a DK game in 1 month, the eighth month. The ninth month you would have had the Legend of Zelda game, whether it be Wind Waker or Twilight Princess. Spoiler alert, I'm pretty sure we're only gonna get one of those games. They ain't gonna give us both. They're just gonna
Yeah,
give us Wind Waker and they're gonna hold off on Twilight Princess. Quote me on that. And then they're gonna give you like a Metroid game and then maybe a Kirby game or something like that. Would you count all of those games coming out on every single one of those months and we're only gonna have maybe 2 or 3 months we don't have anything? Oh, and I forgot about Endless Ocean. All of those games like that. Would you call that a slow year when you're looking at games such as or not games, systems like or
yeah,
systems
but
companies like PlayStation that hadn't dropped the first party game this so far this year? Well, outside
yeah,
of
but
Helldivers too, but
literally
yeah.
literally only 3 of those games are new games. All of those would be either ports, remakes, or remasters of old games. So yes,
Hey,
I'm
you
not
gotta do
considered
whatever you
I'm
gotta do whatever you
I'm
do to
look,
get that paycheck, I'm just saying.
listen, I'm excited for it. I'm just telling you that I don't personally count those as a busy year for Nintendo. Those aren't heavy hitting releases that are new. Like those are just them filling up slots in their release schedule because they're biding time until next year. They
But
probably have
hey,
a new
that's a good way to fill up some time,
well, no,
and
it
and it's
is. It definitely is. I'm just saying they definitely are just biding time to get that 3D Mario done for the launch of the system. Come on.
and yeah, and that's the other interesting thing though too, is because for old junkies like us, well, I'm old. You ain't too far behind me though. But for a lot of us, like yes, we've been through the era of like the GameCube era where Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door has released. So some of us might own some copies. Like both me and you own that GameCube copy. But there's a lot of obviously younger audience of people out there that haven't, whether they chose not to get the game originally when the game originally came out, or was never around at least during that time period or whatever though. So for a lot of these people, and there's a reason why companies go through and do a lot of remakes and remasters all the time, is a lot of people just hadn't played these games. So for a lot of people, it's just gonna be counted as a new game. Whereas the older crew of people like us, we might not see it that way, but I bet we're kind of the slightly mm, oh, what's the term for it though? Or the I wouldn't say we're the vocal minority. Well, yeah, the minority. That's what I would say. We might be the minority of people in terms of who are going to actually go through and pick up this game. Let's keep it a buck 50 though. But
Yeah.
regardless, though, yes, it's not going to be like the craziest year because I imagine well, whatever happens in 2025, it's going to be probably freaking insane though. So that's the year to keep our eyes on. But it'll be interesting to see what Nintendo can cook up at the ninth hour, at least for the second half of this
Yeah,
year.
I'm just playing devil's advocate really. Like to me, I'll eat up the remakes. Like I love seeing some of the old games that in my opinion were like not really, Nintendo didn't care about them. I love seeing them bring them back. Obviously, Thousand Year Door made me very, very, very happy to see return. But like, it's fun to see Nintendo usually puts out some of their weirdest and best stuff in the late stages of a console's life.
I mean, shoot, we managed to get Super Mario RPG and turn around and get Thousand Year Door, like the cult classic that not a lot of
Yeah,
people would
no,
have
but
thought we
like
would have got. I was like, dang, they drop out a Mario and Luigi game in the second half of this year. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna really
they're
wipe
not
the crust
doing
out my
that.
eyes. So I'm gonna be like, bro,
They're they're not doing that,
they're
Zard.
not doing that. I'm just saying
No,
what
but
if.
yeah. But yeah, the June Direct, I definitely have a lot of hopes for. But like, if I have to be realistic, we'll get like 2 remakes, and that's about it. Maybe they'll get I don't know. I think we'll get trailers for 2 remakes. I think we'll get I think we'll get the Zelda re-releases trailer, and I think we're gonna get like a Kirby game getting remastered. And then I think we'll get the Metroid Prime 4 trailer. And then once the Switch 2 is already revealed, and then we get that September direct or that fall direct, whatever direct it's gonna be in the fall, that's going to be the one that's actually showing the Switch 2 lineup in that direct. Because this isn't like remember when the Switch was revealed, Nintendo was just ignoring the NX for how long? Like we had to wait until October to finally get a small look at the thing.
Yeah, because it was
No, I
like
think
several
yeah,
months. I think it was like January, February ish or something like that when they really started to drum up the code name a little bit more
yeah,
so. And wasn't until all the way to October where we actually
yeah. It
saw
was
the console
agonizing.
in action. And like what? That was like the first little bit of footage we saw for games like Mario Odyssey, which we hadn't seen up until that point. We were like, wait, what the heck is that Mario game? But
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm expecting something similar, at least with the Switch 2 timetable. Like my current thought process is I think they're gonna line it up very similar to the Nintendo Switch. Like sometime in the fall and some given day, we'll get some kind of a reveal trailer, seeing it in action, and they won't say too much outside of it, outside of what the actual name is. I'm expecting January or February ish. We'll get the actual presentation of like, hey, here's the lineup for all of this stuff for the whole entire year. Pre-orders open up on this day, and sometime in the spring, March or April. I'm thinking that's when they're going to drop their console. That's what I'm thinking. Are you kind of in the same boat?
I think it's yeah, I think they're gonna do the exact same strategy with the as they did with the Switch, if you ask me.
All right. That's what I was thinking though. And I feel like for a lot of people, that's what everybody has their eyes out on. So it's like, hey, if you're on that Switch 2 watch, July is the earliest we can get something. But I wouldn't say until it's like September, October. That's the peak time where I'm like, all right, we're really going to keep an eye out on things because I'm expecting maybe in one of those 2 months, something big is going to happen. And we might finally be able to attach an actual name to it, whether this thing is called the Super Nintendo Switch or the Switch 2.
I
We're
just
just
hope
rolling
it's
with the
called
Switch 2 for
maybe
now,
I'm
though.
boring. I just hope it's called the Switch too. I
I
just want
mean,
this
we could do
system
this thing
to
like the
sell. I
PlayStation
just
model because I don't see Nintendo ever going back to splitting their handheld and home console businesses. Like,
they already confirmed this is gonna be a Switch successor.
yeah,
Like
so
them
I don't think they ever will go back to that old formula in the future, though. So this will be like an Apple thing. It's like, hey, we're just going to keep iterating on this thing, make it more powerful. We might have a little, tiny gimmick here and there, but the form factor, I think, is going to be here to stay.
well,
So,
I think
mm,
if you ask me, I think it would actually be kind of novel for Nintendo to do two consoles again. But like whatever that second console would be like a side thing, or they develop entirely new games for it. Like something
mm.
like something like your Virtual Boy, or like something weird,
Well, if they
something
did something like
Nintendo,
that for VR, I could
or
see that, but
or
I
I don't
don't
know,
know.
even or no, you know what? Instead of like making it its own system, I think they'll just do it as a Switch 2 game. Like, something crazy like Labo. Labo was fun, even if it didn't sell well.
I wonder how many. Well, it's weird because it has so many different kits. I don't know how you would classify in terms of sales for all of that, but no, I mean, we could see something weird like that in the future, but it'll probably
I
like
hope
way off
so.
down the road if, for some reason like the Switch 2 wasn't doing crazy numbers or some numbers that they kind of expect that what they would normally do. But yeah, I think outside of that, I think we had this strategy nailed down. So at least here moving forward, anytime I mention the successor on the for whatever Nintendo's next console is, I'm just gonna call it the Switch 2 until we actually get an official naming for it though. It's just kind of the most simplest thing though, because for all we know, it literally could be called that. We don't need another the Wii U scenario fiasco. No, we don't need none of that mess. Keep it simple, keep it straightforward because if anything has taught us about all this news that happened within the past couple of weeks, being simple and transparent is the way to go sometimes. It might not be the most flashiest thing. It might not on paper make it seem like you're gonna get a lot of bucks in your pocket though. But sometimes simple is just better. Let's just keep the goal line in front of us and let's not turn it on its side or anything like that. But Steven, any other final thoughts on the Switch 2 or I guess the Nintendo Direct predictions kind of or ideas theorizing whatever we had up in here though. We'll probably be more specific on our Nintendo Direct predictions whenever we get closer to whatever. We just know it's happening at some point in the month of June. We don't know what
Yeah.
day, but I'm looking at the calendar now in terms of like when my episodes for the podcast will go live. Like literally the first, the third, and the fifth Sunday of the month. Perfectly balanced out for beginning, middle, and end is when the podcast will air. So we probably will get the direct sometime between one of those episodes though. So if we can time it out just right, we'll try to do a prediction segment in front of it. Or obviously we'll always talk about the what we managed to get out of it and just our thoughts overall though. But with all that said, Stephen, any other final thoughts?
I was just gonna say, like, like we'll talk. We're gonna have this conversation again. Obviously, we will talk about the Switch 2 again. So I'm not gonna say anything else about that, but I will say the The fact that Nintendo's being completely transparent about there being a June Direct is very nice. So that means we don't got to go through the entire Twitter arc of them being like the Direct is coming this week. It's coming this week. It's coming this week. It's coming this day. It's coming tonight. It's coming now.
You
Like,
know, people are still gonna do that, Miss Steven. It's
well,
like, you
guess
know, we
what?
know it's gonna happen in the month of June. So everybody's just gonna throw darts at a dartboard and stuff like that and watch it. Quote me up on this mess.
Yeah, but
It
here's
would
the
be a
thing. I'm
Nintendo move
content.
to make that direct on what was it, on June the 30th. Quote
Yeah,
me
but at
on
least
that.
for me, as a Nintendo fan, even if it's a slow year for Nintendo, we know good things are coming and we're still getting quality games. So it doesn't matter. They could literally have nothing from the Thousand Year Door all the way until Switch 2. I would be satisfied. I'd be fine. No, but like I don't know. I just hope that uh Nintendo knows what they're doing because the Wii launched good and then the Wii U was fucking terrible. So I hope we don't get a situation where the Switch was good and then the Switch successor confuses a lot of people. That's what I'm
Mhm.
worried about.
All righty. Well, I think that basically does it in terms of this segment right here. So we're basically almost to the end of the show. Mind you, we normally would have our debate segment here next, but since we had to talk about the Switch 2 and the June Direct stuff, we allow that to take priority over the debate. However, we'll leave you a little piece of something though. So we do got to talk about the results from the last episode's debate though. So let's go ahead and jump on over into this one last segment right here. All right, Steven. So last week we managed to go through and talk about some stuff for the debate right here, in which last week, or I say last week, it was a couple weeks ago, we literally went over and discussed what is the worst Nintendo Switch first party game based upon me and your debates. And you chose Mario Golf Super Rush, and I chose Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. And Steven, this is the closest poll we have ever had yet. This might have been a vote or two difference determining the winner because your vote won at 54%, but mine came right behind you at 46%. Literally, I think a vote or two would have potentially tied it or tipped it the other way. Oh, shoot.
Both of these games deserve the rotten hell.
I know that was terrible. I didn't feel bad about losing this one because it's like, dang, when you're talking about the bottom of the barrel, it
Yeah,
doesn't matter one way or the other.
it didn't even have to be a debate. I could have just chat talk about Mario Golf Super Rush for 15 hours. I could have just, I could have just kept going. I probably could have talked about it longer than I would have ever played the game, Zard.
Yeah, which it's kind of funny how you dogged on that game so much, and I was like, dang, I was like, is that would you consider that the worst Mario sports game we have on the Switch?
Yes,
Okay, okay.
absolutely. Like what?
Yeah,
Oh,
I can see
you have
Strikers having a little bit more because I mean, shoot, if you
Strikers
had
has
all the
those amazing animations and the charm. At least it has
yeah, and
that.
at least if you had all those people in your same room at the same time, then get heck yes, that's a good game. But ooh, dog, man, that's terrible.
But
That's
yeah, then Pokemon's a fucking lifeless mess. But I'd rather play that because at least I'd be playing Diamond and Pearl. At least, even if I'm not playing Platinum, I'm at least playing a good game.
yeah, man. I don't know. I hate how much they fumbled the ball on Brilliant Diamond. And on a quick side note, since we do have a few minutes though, we can quickly go over and just talk about some things we've been going through and playing this week though. But lately I've been going through and playing Pokemon Emerald just a little bit because I just had a
Base.
copy laying around. And I was like, dang, I was like, what was the last name me or my brother did up on this thing though? And I was like, oh, he didn't go through and capture the legendary. So I was actually just randomly going through and like capturing like Rayquaza, Groudon, Kyogre. I managed to find a strat at getting Latios, and Latios is not one of the easiest ones to get in Emerald because it's a Roman legendary. I figured out if you go into that house where the biker's road is and coming out and having max repel, right? And having a Pokemon in the front that's like level 30 to 40, and then getting on your, I think it's the acrobat bat bike, and literally do the hopping mechanic. And then if it's not there in the first 10 seconds, going back in the house and coming back out, repeating that process over and over and over is the highest chance of getting Latios to appear. And I got him to appear in like 10 to 15 minutes or so. I was like, dang, it was never that easy with Roman Pokemon. I was like, oh my goodness. But yeah, I've been playing a little bit of that here lately. I've been playing some Four Swords Adventure with my brother. So I don't know, there's a lot of
Nice.
charm up in that game. If you can manage to get, all of the equipment and stuff with the, GameCube, the GBA link cables and stuff, having the right amount of Game Boy Advance SPs or Game Boy Advances in general. And then obviously the system in the game itself though. But that game has a lot of charm. So I'm fully dedicated to see if I can fully go through and beat that game with him the whole way through. It'll be like
You
one of those few
definitely can.
games. Yeah, because I mean, some of these levels are actually fairly long up in that game, like, and especially if you get stumped. Because sometimes, because my brother, he mainly only likes playing like Mario, Legend of Zelda, Smash Brothers. That's mostly just about it. And then occasionally he'll play some stuff on the NSO. Like right now, he's going through and playing like Minish Cap and stuff. So occasionally he'll do some other stuff though. But those levels take a hot second to get through, especially if you're stumped on a puzzle. I did have to open up my phone, go through the IGN guides and stuff like that. I just been playing some quick, simple stuff here and there. Like oh gosh, what's the other name of the game? Honkai Star Rail. I've been playing a little bit of that. Like we managed to get the story wrap up on that. So yeah, I've been doing small little stuff here and there that don't occupy a lot of time. So whenever Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door drops out this week on Thursday, I'll be able to go to my Best Buy and cop that copy real quick and go through and play through that game. We'll have a whole segment on that in the next episode, though. So I've just been
And
trying to
you
go
know
through
I'll
and
be
play
buying
quick
it day
things.
one.
Yeah. And I think outside of that, Steven, it's been that and Splatoon 3. Like there's a Splatfest going on right now. And I think it
I'll
just
be
ended.
yeah, Fry won. Thank fucking God for that's the
Oh,
only
she
thing I know
did?
about it.
What the freak?
That's the only thing I know
Big
about it.
man should have won
I,
that mess. Whole crap. This thing's
I don't
rigged.
know. I'll be honest, Zard. I cannot with Splatoon 3. I just can't care. They're only doing one stage per update now, and like Salmon
Well,
Run's
and
already
that's the
over
other thing
with.
too. This might be the last one because they said 2 years, and
No,
they
they're
they,
no
they, they
the
they said we're
2
going to do
years
updates for
ends in
2 years.
September. That
Well,
ends in
unless they give us
September.
the last update in September as that being the last one, and then that's
No,
just indefinite or whatever.
they
But
would have told us this is the final update. This is not the final update yet.
okay, you're
Trust
probably
me.
right about that. We might get one more, and that'll be it. So this is probably
Oh
the
yeah.
second to last one.
Oh
But
yeah.
that big run though, with the three different bosses though, that looked kind of cool.
Terrifying. Yeah. No, like
I'm
that.
not,
That's cool.
whenever that one comes out, I'll hit you up. I'm kind of I haven't played a lot of Salmon Run, but I will for the triple boss fight. Well, let me see.
And
But yeah, that's
yeah, it'll be
that's
fun.
basically I think all of the stuff I've been going through and playing here lately. But what about you, Steven?
I played another Crab's Treasure. I beat it in the last week. I played it and beat it. Great game, by the way. It's really funny. It gets really dark. I didn't believe you when you said that to me. I thought when you said dark, it was like just like non Nintendo brand, like just slightly dark. No, like there are multiple deaths in that game. Have
I'm
you?
telling you,
Did
man,
you?
that crab was on the treasure.
Did,
There were so
did
many
you beat the
points.
game? Did
There
you
were so
beat
many.
the game?
Let's say what?
Did you beat the game?
No, I beat it. I told you when I beat it. I was like, "Holy
I
shoot,
just wanted
bro!"
to make sure. Did you use any of the accessibility options by any chance, or did you
No,
just
I,
beat
I
it?
I just kept the settings as is.
Oh, okay. So you kept it on like hard mode, I guess, technically.
Oh,
You didn't.
I mean, I didn't even know there was like a hard mode difficulty up in there.
But
Whatever the default was is whatever it was. The only settings I messed with it
okay.
on my PC side was just the graphics settings. That was it. I
Okay,
didn't
then
mess
yeah.
with anything
No,
else.
there's a really funny setting where you can give Krill a gun.
Oh, because I know there was like oh, no, never mind.
Yeah,
Never mind. You're right. I did see that gun on people's screen or they took screenshots or videos. I saw it on Twitter.
yeah.
And I was like, how the heck they get a gun?
It's in the accessibility settings. You one shot everything in the game with it, and it's a
In
shell.
bosses? What the heck?
Yeah, literally everything. It's funny. It's
Oh
really
my
funny.
gosh. Okay. I didn't
You
even know
get
that
an
was a
you get
thing.
you get an achievement for using it. But yeah, besides that, the game is extremely dark. Did you fight that one like boss where like he has an executioner like guillotine for like an arm, and the blade comes down and chops you and immediately one shots you if he grabs you?
I now I know there's some optional bosses up in this game, and I didn't find out about some of those, until I actually beat the game. So you have to send me a picture of it. I'm not sure. It doesn't sound
I'll
like one,
find it.
but if you show me a picture, then I can kind of let you know though. But no, another crab's
Game's
treasure.
good though.
Yeah, because that game was freaking phenomenal. That's literally up there in terms of my top list when we're going. Ugh, I'm talking too fast now. When we go through and discuss our games for game of the years for 2024, that's going to be up there somewhere. Whether it's the honorable mention or it's actually going to be in like my top 3 to 4 or 5 games. It's gonna be up there because there were so many moments while I was playing that game. I was like, "Dang, Sebastian ain't got nothing on me." Like that crab, he went in that game with a mission. And the way how he ended that game, I won't say it because of spoilers though, but you know what I'm talking about, Steven. The last action you do in the game, I was like, "Gosh, dang it, should have done that mess from the very beginning, man." Oh,
Yeah, the game has a somewhat bittersweet ending is all I'll spoil.
yeah,
Like
but
it's
I
not
love all of the puns or the puns and the wording and I guess some of the dialogue stuff. They got creative with some of the words they set up in there.
I
Got me
just
to
like
laugh a couple of times.
I just like how the developers of this game are just a bunch of shit posters. Like there's so many memes in the game.
And I like the what was it? I think I don't know what was your favorite shell up in that game, but my favorite one was the what was it? The Among Us one. The
Oh my
second I had that one, I only used that shell from that point moving forward though.
I used the thimble a lot because it had the
Then,
ability to give you like 2 free shell hits.
hmm. And did
It was good for that.
you maxed out the skill tree at the very end, right? Because at that point, you should have enough points to max the whole thing out.
I did it halfway through the game
Oh, okay, okay. You were doing
because I
some extra
collected it.
stuff.
Well, I just collected the things as I went. I think the game. I was just gonna say, Zard. I think the game does a great job at blending being a 3D platformer with being a Souls-like game.
I think that's what allowed me to tolerate the game the most. So it's like when I got frustrated with a boss or I just beat one, I was like, I don't want to run into another one. By the time you do all of the 3D platforming and stuff and you work your way up to the next one, I was like, all right, I'm ready to kill this next sucker. Like I got some stuff. I upgraded my fork. I got a better shell right now. I got some more abilities. I locked some things on the skill tree where now I can just hit a button and just immediately dodge right. And I don't know about you, Steven, but I really like moving fast, at least within like these soul-like games. Second, I got that ability where I was able to stab a fork with against a shell and then swing that thing slowly, but it does massive damage. That was my preferred way to fight from that point moving forward in the game. Was that you?
Wait, we're doing what? Sorry.
You stab the fork on another shell and basically you treat
Oh
it like a
yeah, the
hammer.
hammer.
That's the
Yeah,
way I played the rest of the
because
game.
it interrupts enemy attacks very easily. And then the moment you get the like the adaptations, the ones you get from bosses, when you get the electrocution, it fucking breaks the game.
You know, and that's the funny thing though too, because I think those extra special abilities, I think normally throughout you playing the game, you get like 3 of them, I think. And I was like, "Wait, how did you get the other 3?" And I just dodged those bosses where you get the other abilities. I was like, "Oh my goodness." So
One
I
of them's
have a
not
re
even from a boss. Yeah.
yeah, so I have a reason to go back and just kinda tinker around and just kinda see the stuff I missed, but no, I really enjoyed the heck out of that, and I was like, "Man, maybe I don't like Souls-likes from, the people that make the Demon Souls and, Dark Souls and stuff though, but if companies like Aggro Crab can make games like this where they blend other genres and stuff and still have that Souls-like feature up in there, then maybe those are the games I can gravitate towards and really like. I just didn't think I was gonna like that game that much seeing it back in the partner showcase though, but oh shoot, that game was just freaking phenomenal.
I'll
I wanted
admit,
to talk to you about this game, and I'm glad I
yeah,
finally was able to
I'll
because you beat
admit
it.
it's an easier game than most Souls games. That definitely is a contributing factor, Zard. This is definitely the easiest Souls-like game I've ever played. That's not a bad thing. Question for you: would you come back to this game? Would you play this again?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
See,
I'd rather play
exactly.
this game
Smaller
than a
games,
log yeah.
smaller indie games are the thing of the future. you will definitely go back to a small indie game like 2 or 3 times. Oh, who the fuck knows if you're ever gonna go back to a live service game that you just got bored of? Most of the
Yeah, that's
time,
true.
if I most of the time I'm like, oh, how's that live service game doing? Shut down.
I mean, I mean, if you were to look at a lot of those games from like what the Xbox 360 era,
True.
PS3 and stuff, I mean, a lot of those things are.
Xbox
I mean, a lot of those things are
360,
running on fan
PS3,
servers now. But yeah,
well, because they're able to. While modern games, you can't do that. It's not nearly as easy to do that.
yeah. That kind of brings up an interesting point in the future where it's like, hey, because of more of the stuff that only the companies can kind of run behind the scenes with some of these servers and stuff, and it's like you can have a public server fine for a basic game, but for some of these complex ones, it's like when you can't ever do it no more, it's like, well, it's just gonna be a relic of the time. You can probably watch some old videos of people playing the game though, but it's gonna be like more of those events of, well, you should have been there, done that, seen that, and participated essentially though. But oh man, the times we're about to get into. Times we're about to get into. But was that the main game you were playing here lately?
Just making sure, honestly. I can't remember if I played anything else. I played Fortnite, obviously. Got like the highest level in that, and next season comes soon. Yeah, it was basically it. I didn't play anything on my Switch in a while. I'm just kind of waiting for Thousand Year Door. That's my next big game.
Yeah, I was waiting on that one too because I know that one. How many, Steven? How many hours do you think it roughly takes to go through and beat that game? Like, if you can think back on the GameCube.
Um, just beating it?
Yeah, like what was it like a
It's
30-ish
about a
hour game?
that's a good question. It really, are you just like you mean just taking your time and enjoying it for
No, I
what it
mean on
is?
average, how long does it normally take you to beat
Well,
that
yeah,
game?
like when you go to a town, you actually explore it type of deal. Like yeah, because I'd say I can spend like a solid maybe 20, 30 hours, 20, 25 hours. But like, at the end of the day, it's an RPG, so obviously, but it's not really an RPG you have to grind in either. You could probably beat it in like 10 hours if you're
You know,
just going, this, that, just going immediately to the next place. But
and then
there's a bunch of like shine sprites hidden to level up your partners and like star pieces that if you don't know, these star pieces now unlock the sound and the art gallery with the concept art.
oh yeah, yeah. There's a lot of modern stuff they added up in the game, which is going to make it, some of the quality of life features they managed to implement up in here. It's going to be pretty good, man. And this is another little side tangent though. But have you seen that AI assistant with Google and stuff? I think they call it Gemini or whatever though.
The web thing, like when you go on the Google, like they have their own web browser, you mean?
It's the thing where it pops like you might say, how long does it take to beat whatever though? And it's the AI overview, and it literally gives you the answer like on the first thing. That's actually pretty cool, but I kind of feel bad because like some websites and stuff rely on those clicks and stuff. So for some, you kind of want to still go through and support those different, websites or whatever. Other ones that are like behind paywalls, but
Fuck that, yeah. Like
yeah, but
any website that paywalls you just for basic information, no.
yeah, I looked it up and it literally just gives you the answer at the very top. It's really easy. Like AI is kind of scary though. But yeah, it takes about 31-ish hours. I was thinking 30 for like a good Paper Mario game. So yeah. Yeah, that shouldn't be too bad. Kind of like the games that don't take like a stupid amount of time either,
Yeah,
considering, all the other
obviously.
stuff you got to do in life
And
though.
this isn't a official first party game, but I'm definitely gonna try this. Have you seen the basically Mario Maker 64 was released, where there is now a tool that lets you create your own Super Mario 64 levels in a similar fashion to Mario Maker, and it runs on real N64 hardware.
Oh no, I hadn't heard about that.
I will send you the trailer. Look at this. It's so fucking cool. There's a
Hmm.
bunch of themes to choose from, bunch of music to choose from. It's Mario Maker but for 64. It's and there's you could search for other people's levels, and
Hmm.
it already came out like the day it came out it already has like 30 levels made with it.
Not too bad. Not too bad.
And like, you could like add permanent upgrades. There's power ups. I'm sending it directly to your DMs. But that's a really cool like fan game basically. Nintendo will take it down probably, but
Oh
like
no,
it's
they
so
definitely
cool.
are. So why are you bringing it up on the podcast?
Nintendo's not gonna watch this fucking podcast. We're fine.
I don't know. I don't know. At some point they might. You never know,
Nintendo,
Steven.
Nintendo, if you are watching this podcast, anyone from Nintendo, just know, I know that the Switch 2 will have sex on it. It will have the game sex on
Whoa,
it.
okay,
You
we're
can't
not talking
hide that
about all
point.
them hentai
Yeah,
games, man. Like, have you seen
yeah,
that stuff
no,
on the eShop? Like,
no. Switch 2 will have sex. That is confirmed.
oh
That's how
no.
they get that's how they get a new audience there.
Oh dear, no. Oh goodness.
No,
Well, they
but
say that stuff sells, but whatever. Anyway,
yeah,
though, so I think we're basically down at the bottom of the barrel in terms of all of our topics that Steven has clearly indicated right there, though. But that's basically going to do it in terms of this episode for my ZardCast podcast, episode 79. So, Steven, let the fine people know where they can find you at.
you could find me on Twitter at Steven Jr. 1231. I'm not calling it X. And then you could also find me on Spaghetti Disco, like a collab channel I do with some friends.
All righty. So that's basically going to do it in terms of this episode right here. So definitely for sure, now that we're basically in what would be considered as the old E3 time, but we're just going to have to call it now the Summer Game Fest time though. Would it be in the month of June? There's going to be tons of announcements everywhere and stuff. So you definitely want to keep an eye out on my channel. Me and Steven will cover the news and stuff in terms of like we already got the date line for the Xbox showcase. That should be happening here fairly soon. I'm expecting Sony to come out with some kind of state of play or maybe a showcase. Whatever they bring to that, we'll talk about that. And obviously, we know a Nintendo Direct is coming in some point in the month of June. We'll talk about that. And then anything else that third parties like Capcom, Square Enix happens to be mentioned or anything like that, though. So definitely keep an eye out on that, though. And then also just a quick little, I guess you can count it as a channel update. I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the podcast instead of at the very tail end, though. But as some of y'all might have noticed though, I have a whole nother series of videos I'm going to be dropping on the channel called Zard's Thoughts. That's just the name I'm going to dub it as. Or basically, I'm just going through, and it could be something newsworthy that could be happening during the middle of the week where I'm able to actually make that video, create it in a quicker turnaround time, and throw it there on the channel, like the one I dropped on Saturday. Like that one. God, I'm trying to remember what was the topic of that video though. But ooh, dang, I had to literally look on my channel to actually see that one though. But literally, those are just gonna be quick little episodes where I'm just able to quickly give my thoughts on it. It's no longer like 5 to 7 minutes, probably at tops, and you can kind of get get most of your beef in terms of like the story, what's kind of going on within the gaming spirit and stuff. No, yeah. So that first one episode I talked about, it was literally about Nintendo releasing their games on Thursdays now. Have you noticed that trend, Steven? Like normally they release
Yeah,
them on Fridays, but now since Endless Ocean, it's been only on Thursdays.
I think I'm fine with it. I'm assuming they're only doing it just to differentiate themselves. But
I
at the
think
same time, there's going to be a lot of people that were used to having Fridays off for Nintendo games or this and that. At least for me, I haven't had Fridays off in a while. I also don't have Thursdays off. I'm just happy that when I get home on a Thursday, I at least am not getting home from a really bad day of work like Friday. Friday is usually really busy at my job, so getting home and immediately having to go the GameStop to go pick up a game is annoying.
yeah. So that's the reason why I just put that out there. I was like, hey, these are the short little videos. Y'all can take them as little bite-sized adventures. Never expect those Zard Thoughts videos to go up on days like Tuesdays where I have my collection reflection videos, or Fridays where I have my my weekly gaming topic stuff. So as long as it's not a Tuesday or Friday, there's a chance a Zara's Thoughts episode could be going up on the channel though. So this is kind of something to kind of fill in the cracks here and there though. And then obviously you got this bi-weekly podcast that happens every other Sunday though. But yeah, that's just a little bit of quick channel news right there. And that's basically going to do it, though. So that should definitely help out with all the news we're going to be getting here throughout the month of June, though. So yeah, that's going to basically do it in terms of my ZardCast episode 79. So if you really like this show, make sure you're going to hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related. I feel like talking about and discussing. If you happen to be one of my audio listeners who happen to be listening to this, the audio version for the podcast, yes, you can find me over there on Dog, I was about to say, yeah, YouTube Music. You can find me over there on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, even iHeartRadio. Yes, you can listen to me in the car. And yeah, you can just check out any one of those different platforms. And if you're able to leave a review on there, just let people know we're just a couple dudes that love to talk about gaming news and everything else in between, though. But yeah, that's gonna basically do it for this episode, though. So remember, y'all, until our video I make next, until my next ZardCast episode, that being episode 80, I'll see y'all later.